Everybody, we're live in Neola, Iowa, here on 96.5 FM KSOM. It's our high school football preview show. We're broadcasting live from the Bucksnort restaurant here in downtown Neola, home of the Class 1A or Class A high school football state champions. So they're 1A this year. Tri-Center Trojans. We will be talking with their new head coach, Steve Peterson, coming up later on here. In the show, we'll be talking a bunch of our area head coaches about this high school football season. We've already got one game under our belt. John Becker alongside, Darryl Frayne, head coach for Riverside in between. But John, it's exciting. We did our first game on Friday night against Xyri HK. We went all the way down to Sydney, and first game in the books. It was just like riding a bicycle.
It was just like riding a bicycle, and we had really good weather compared to, and we might talk about this with all the coaches, but compared to what the weather you guys have had, the last really 10 days up until Thursday, Friday, it felt like football, right? And this morning, at 50 degrees and everything, and getting to watch my Cyclones win yesterday, big win, but yeah, it definitely feels like fall now.
Thank God that fourth down worked, right?
That's right.
No doubt.
Thank God the other fourth down didn't work.
That's right, yes.
Kleiman went for it inside. So, Coach, if you had that ball inside your own 30-yard line, 4th down and 1, would you have gone for it?
Well, there were still 8 minutes left in the game. I think I would have punted and played the field position.
I don't know. With Jackson in the backfield, I know he's doing some coach talk right here.
I would have punted.
But you have that beast in the backfield.
It's your own 30-yard line.
I know, but still.
I would have punted.
It would be.
Field conditions the way they were, I don't know.
Now, I agreed with Campbell's decision to go for it there, 4th and 3.
Oh, for sure.
Deep in your opponent's territory with the game on the line. That was a lot easier decision, I thought. But so, Coach, thanks a lot for stopping by. It's good to see you. Riverside, we saw. I was entertained by the win over Linville Sully in the playoffs. That was a fun football game to call.
Absolutely.
I have a bunch of fans and friends at Linville Sully. They weren't very happy, but that's neither here nor there. So how do you feel about your team coming off of that win? Of course, you ran into Tri-Center in the playoffs, and man, they were just a big story last year, and just got on a roll, and that was your last game of the season, but you come in this year with a lot of guys coming back.
Yeah, we got a lot coming back. We got to get better at offensive line, but our few skilled people coming back that we're going to count on a lot. Like you said, coming out, having a win in the playoffs was big for us at Riverside. We got there one other year, 2022, I think, we got the COVID year, and then we got this year, and it was a big one to get the win, and we got it. Faced Tri-Center, like you said. I've told everybody the story of the night where the brackets were coming, or the region are coming out, and I said I want to play anybody but Tri-Center. I didn't say that out loud to let kids hear me. I said I truly think if they're not the best team, they are one of the top 2, and they proved it. And then they showed it on the field. But, we're using that as a stepping stone coming in with the kids we got coming back, and I feel good about what we got coming. So it'll be an exciting year for us.
Well, I always see the most important thing coming into a season, especially for high school football teams, is do you have a quarterback coming back? And you do, but you also have a tailback coming back, too. That's another piece to have both of those kids back, especially Jackson Gordon, but you're also probably looking for more things out of Landon Schoenrock this year.
Definitely. That was one of the things last year. We kind of just asked Landon to manage the game, and now he's a big leader. We're going to ask him to run it a little bit more and throw it a little bit more. And like you said, when it comes crunch time, Jackson Gordon's probably going to get the ball most of the time. So as long as Landon takes care of the ball, don't turn the ball over, we like our chances to move the ball offensively with them.
Yeah, John, we saw Jackson a number of different times.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if there's any other player that's more exciting than him in this entire area, Jackson Gordon.
Yeah, and Coach, talk a little bit about that, because pad level and always moving his legs, and Mr. Gordon does a phenomenal job at both. Talk a little bit about how much of that continues, in his progression to become even more
Yeah, I mean, it's huge because, I mean, you never see him get tackled for loss very often.
Right.
Everything's falling forward. You know, as an ex-wrestling coach, I always give it that to credit because he's a wrestler and he's a tough kid that, like you said, he never quits moving. His legs keep going. You always think you're going to get positive yards, and just that mental toughness that he has to go against anybody and go through anybody when he needs to and outrun people when he has to also. So, yeah, he's a complete back for us. And then we throw to him out of the backfield a lot too. So, you know, he is a complete back.
And don't kick to Gordon. Because
Yeah,
he'll
don't
make
go-
it.
absolutely.
Like Friday night, don't kick to Stenzel. They
Yeah.
kicked to Stenzel, and he returned it for a
Right.
touchdown for Sydney. If you're playing Riverside, don't kick it to Gordon.
Yeah, and then we will see that people will game plan all those things for us because, I mean, that's probably, I mean, that's what, you know, Tri-Center's number one goal, everybody's number one goal is to stop Jackson Gordon, and we'll have to just be creative with it.
One thing, Coach, I mean, every place that you've been, and I've seen you a couple, how do you continue to build a culture with 14 to 18-year-olds? And I know it's a progression, but how do you continue to put your imprint on every single program that you touch?
You know, the biggest thing is I'm pretty old school. I mean, I'm pretty hard on the kids, and I pat them on the back immediately when the
Absolutely.
thing's over. And so many people don't always see both sides of it. And I get to know the kids, and I mean, you know, just all the little things you do off the field or off the court or whatever. I think that's where it all takes place. And hold kids accountable. Give them. That's, you know, we're always holding kids accountable. At the time, they might not like it, but as they get going and as your season goes, those things just play out, and kids start playing for you and helping you and playing for their teammates. And, you know, that's what we sell all the time. You know, they're playing for themselves first, and then the team, the community, the school. Because, I mean, you know, any small community, when you start doing good, then it's worked out.
So you got Landon, you got Jackson, but you know, there's another. You lose a kid like an AC Roller, who is big on both sides of the football. But I'm also excited to see what Cole Jepson can do on offense. I mean, he's got the speed and maybe deceptive kind of speed. But what do you see about Cole and other skill guys that you know, if other teams key on Gordon, other guys are going to have to touch that football too?
Yeah, Cole Jepson and Peyton Amdor are going to be the two that we're going to count. Those will be the two. Last year, Peyton broke his collarbone in our scrimmage and never played till the end of the year. Kicked a couple times, so he's going to be an unknown for people. But he's a really good athlete, really good basketball player, you know. And then we're going to ask a lot out of him and Cole both. Cole's going to probably be our main receiver. Probably do a lot of jet sweep type stuff with him. So yeah, both those two will be the other after Landon and Jackson will probably be counted on a lot.
How do you feel about the big eaters up front, offensive line? Where does that stand right now?
Yeah, that's the big question mark for us. You know, we got Gavin Hackett, and right now we're got banged up a little, so we're moving people. We just got out of our meeting, so we're moving some kids around. But Gavin Hackett is one of our better linemen, and Wyatt Bell. Those two, how they go, our offensive line will go. So we'll probably be running behind them most of the time the whole year.
Yeah. Let's go on the defensive side. You know, as a Roller had 85.5 tackles last year. That's a lot of tackles. My gosh. But you do have Wyatt Bell coming back. I mean, I saw him play a little basketball off the bench, and now he's going to be, I think, a senior this year. Yep. So he's going to get a lot of different roles in a lot of different sports. And that might be a guy you're going to count on a lot.
Yeah, we're going to count on him a lot on both offense and defense. And as you'll notice when you see us play, we got a lot of guys that won't be leaving the field very much. So Wyatt's one of those. Gavin Hackett, like I said, as an offensive lineman, he'll be a linebacker for us. So yeah, those two will be huge. Again, with Amdor will be huge as a linebacker. So, you know, we're going to count on a lot of kids to do a lot for us. And we're going to say the same names a lot.
Well, I mean, what does the roster look like? What does the numbers look like?
Our numbers aren't bad. It's just a lot of young, inexperienced, some kids that haven't played. I mean, we got about 35, but right now when I bring it up all the time, we talk about who's going to be a Friday night player and who's a Monday night players for JV, and we're trying to build that Friday night list up a little bit. We're just not where we need to be yet.
How much can you determine how good of players are, like freshman and sophomore, if you get into what I call, for lack of a better term, garbage time? If you have a big lead, you know, you're in the late third quarter, fourth quarter, maybe running clock games. Can you get anything out of that by putting young players in during those times to see what they can do?
Oh, definitely. One of the biggest things we talked about, and we talked about it after our scrimmage on Friday night, is just, the techniques we teach them. Every drill we do, there's a purpose. And, that's one of the things we think that makes us better is we don't do just random drills in our practice. Every drill builds into something that could happen in the game. And if they're doing it in a JV game, if they're doing it in mop-up time, they're going to have a chance eventually to play on Friday nights when it matters.
Yeah, garbage time, maybe not the accurate term, mop-up time,
right.
but or call it
or
for
even during
development
practice. And can you walk through a little bit, especially this past, like we talked, 10 days when it's been hot? How do you be able to see what those young kids can do?
Yeah. When it's hot, it's really tough, and that's early in the week. We talked about it a lot. We got to get to the end of the week when the weather's going to change,
right.
and we'll pick it up even more. But we do a lot of pod work where we break down and we do the exact same skills we're going to do in team, but break it down into little things, and we do it as fast as we can, even when it's hot. Maybe we don't have all of our pads on,
yep.
or whatever, but we want to do everything, and that's kind of how I've coached at every sport I've ever coached. And we never do anything half speed, never even. It's full speed all the time when we're doing it. And, it's just you get used to doing it full speed, even if that guy's bigger and stronger beside you. If you're doing it full speed over and over and over, it kind of wears on people. And then eventually you tend to take over and win those situations.
And with that, I mean, the way that I assume you practice, just knowing how your kids play on the field, how has it progressed with your leaders, your upperclassmen, to basically pull those younger kids along to make sure that they don't take a play off? They understand in practice that you play the way you practice. How's that progressed over the years?
It's progressed a lot. I mean, we brought up AC Roller a lot, and he was that guy.
Yep.
He was that guy for us the last 2 years, actually. So trying to build our captains and our seniors up this year to do that, they do it nonstop. It's getting them to bring the rest of them along with him, and it's a work in progress, but we're getting better and better, and we talk about it a lot. I bet I say it at least one time every practice what we got to be doing, and those seniors are really doing a really good job. We're working to get to where we need to be for sure.
Sure.
I gotta bring up something besides football here. This is I've now completed my first year here in the area, and I'm falling more and more in love with this town, with all the towns. With Oakland, with Neola, with Atlantic, with Exire, with Audubon. Sean Berg's head coach for Audubon coming up next here on our football preview show. And I've covered high school sports in the state here for 30 years, and I've seen a lot of schools. And I was as impressed with what Riverside did as a school in not just football, but all sports.
Absolutely.
I mean, the track and field, interviewing the kids, and they were talking about family. I think Audubon has some of that as well. But it was noticeable for both boys and girls. You're, of course, the AD as well as football coach. You were the assistant softball coach. They made it to state for the first time ever. The volleyball team made it to state for not first time ever, but first time in a long time. First time ever for volleyball. Basketball teams both were competitive this year. What can you just say about what the last year was in Oakland? And there's got to be something in the water there because, man, Riverside was just good at everything.
Yeah, it was a great year to be part of it. I'll tell you that. It was one of those things we talked about when I first came to Riverside a little bit. Was we took the kids to everything when like state tournaments, the district finals, when we were not winning any games. And this is it, and this is what the community and this is what the school will back you if we do the right things. And it was like teaching them how to win the right way, lose the right way, how to take the field the right way, how to do we were doing it like square one, and it's just kind of taken every year step by step. And now we got an unbelievable group of kids also. I mean, like you said, you talk to them, you can tell they're good kids. I mean, It's not like we have, any bad, you can.
The Henderson brothers, for instance, in track and cross country. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sick.
Yeah.
Just how good they are and how good how serious they take the athletics.
We talk about the process of getting there, and I think they've all bought into that. It's all about showing up every morning at 6:30 and go to weights, no matter how bad the weather is or how bad the night before, getting back from Audubon from a basketball game. it's expected now, and
Yeah.
you know, they expect their teammates to be there with them, and it just carried over. And like you said, I mean, probably the leader to get where we are now. We went to state, sent a huge group to state and track 3 or 4 years ago, and they've been building on it. Volleyball went 2 years ago, and you know, now everybody's just bought in. Like you said, when the family part of it, when the whole school buys in, the teachers buy in, the community buys in, it makes things a lot easier, and the kids really want to do well for everybody.
Yeah. So what do you think about your opener against Trainer?
Ooh.
That's going to be
Yeah,
hard.
it's going to be a tough one. You know, we just got done having a coaches meeting when I left to get here, and they have some really, really good athletes on the outside. I mean, we got to keep them in front of us. If we don't, I mean, they can go over the top of our fastest guys pretty easy. So, I mean, they have the 200 state champion on one side, and another guy on the other side that was in the state. I think they won. Did they win the 4x1 or 4x2? One of the two, and he was in that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough to keep them in front. But you know, we think we got a good game plan. We think we can stay with them, and then, like my philosophy since I've been here is, we're going to make it a dogfight. In the fourth quarter, we have a chance. We like where we'll be.
So the last question, and this might be the most important question that you ever get in your entire life. Have you ever seen a swamp donkey?
I've eaten it. I've eaten it before.
We have a Bucksnort in Oakland.
We have a Bucksnort in
They got
Oakland.
one right
Oh,
now.
you got one there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You've seen it.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I haven't eaten
That
it.
has got to be
yeah.
the best burger I have ever eaten in my life.
I figured
You still might see some
figured
barbecue
Chris was
sauce right here.
I figured Chris is like, all right, so, you know, with your game plan, how do you attack?
Not that serious. We are at the Bucksnort restaurant here in Neola. I had a swamp donkey early, and hopefully you are going to be able to partake in some food here, Coach. I really appreciate you stopping by, and best of luck. We'll be talking to you throughout the season.
Perfect.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you for having me.
Daryl
Thank you,
Frayne,
sir.
head
Thank you.
coach for Riverside football, joins us here from the Bucksnort restaurant in Neola, Iowa. Up next, the Audubon Wheelers. Look out, Sean Burks. His team is going to be good this year. We're back in 2 minutes here on KSOM. Here on KSOM it's our high school football preview show live from the Bucksnort restaurant in Neola, and we want to thank all of our sponsors for today, including Community Insurance from Audubon, Conductix, Wampler, Seed Pros, Union State Bank in Greenfield, Marnie Elkhorn Communications, Armor Insurance, Lyman Ag Supply, FNB, Griswold Communications, Adair Feed and Grain, Cumberland Telephone Company, Hummel Insurance, Messina Telephone, Olson's Fuel Supply, Wyman's CarQuest, Mid-States Bank of Neola, Sideline Sports and Tees in Neola, Be Restored of Walnut coming up. We got plenty of interviews coming your way, including Nick Kaufman from CAM. Matt Strait will be here from Logan Magnolia. We'll talk with Drew Buckholt from Exire HK. Steve Peterson from Tri-Center, of course. He's wearing his backyard. We'll talk with Nate McHaleson from Underwood, Todd Blatt from Harlan, Cody Matheson from ACGC, Jack West from Nottoway Valley, Seth Lemke from Griswold, Davis Patty from AHSTW. Not all of them could make it here, but we do appreciate Sean Burks, head coach from Audubon, for being here. And Coach, it's another 8-man season, and as I said, I gave Darryl a great compliment. It's just fun to watch Audubon and your football team and your whole athletic program. And now now you're going through the transition of switching conferences for the athletic program, and it'll be fun to watch that as you go to the Rolling Valley. But your football team is in a rhythm right now, and you got to feel just confident each and every year when you come into a new season.
Yeah, it depends on the kids, right? And you're only as good as the kids are, and our kids have bought in. Now heading into year 13, you think back to some of those struggles we went through building the program up, and now we take some of those things for granted. Our kids are attacking the weight room year-round, day in and day out, and we're starting to see those things. We've got kids that played JV guard as sophomores at 6'1", 205, and this fall they're rolling out at 6'3", 230 and 6'3", 245. Sophomore DBs that as freshmen were 160 and 155 that are 175. Kids that are weighing 175 and they're power cleaning 315 or squatting 315. We've got kids that are moving some weight. They're multi-sport athletes. They're doing what's needed, and they've seen those teams come, those senior leaders come before them to know what's expected, that we can hit the ground running. So, kudos to the assistant coaches as well. We've had a lot of continuity there. Our systems have stayed the same, so that when kids come in junior high, JV, varsity, it's the same lingo. And like I said, it helps us really kind of, as our summer install goes, we get to the fall and feel like we can really get going, and it helps us, because if you're hitting ground one in August, day one, trying to install everything, you're going to get to that week one game and feel like you're really behind, and we don't feel like we're behind.
Yeah, Coach, you bring up a really good point with your program in general, and talk a little bit about having the same talk, per se, in junior high and your JV games, your varsity games, so everybody, you don't have to teach anybody once they get to the high school program.
Yeah, we've had some struggles in junior high because our youth program, 4, 5, 6, plays 11 player, because we have 30-some kids out every year, and they play one game on a Sunday. So they're trying to get kids in, and so they're playing 11 player, and then they get to junior high, and it's 8 player. So the adjustment's already going to be there. So they're going to already have a learning curve in 7th grade, and we know they're going to. So, yeah, it's that way. But then by the time they're in 8th grade, they feel like they've got it. By the time they walk in as freshmen, it's not such a big learning curve from junior high to high school. Our JV is able to have more of the playbook installed than maybe some years in the past when we hadn't had this going on. And then if the kid gets put in on a Friday or a Monday, it doesn't matter. Obviously things, we don't maybe have the full playbook installed or as many motions or formations, but it's the same stuff, and we expect those kids to be able to handle it. And it's allowed us to, like I said, install things faster, put extra things in, because the base is there from a young age.
So Carson Wessel, 900 yards rushing, 621 yards passing a year ago, and he had to battle through injuries. That was one thing that really stood out to me, is that last year you had to battle injuries all season long. I don't, like, for instance, I don't know how many teams know much about Austin Christensen, because he didn't get on the field as much as you would like, especially at the end of the season, because you didn't have him available in the playoffs. It might have been a different story if you had him. But what have you seen from Wessel and how he has grown, and Christensen also talk. I don't like to ask two questions at once, but Wessel is just such an incredible talent that you get to get back, and then Christensen is a guy that will evolve into his role too.
Yeah, starting with Carson, he missed 2.5 games last year. From got injured really 3 games. Got injured in first quarter of week 5, came back in week 8 for a tune-up against Baxter, and then played in the playoffs. We really saw some growth. When we look back at the scrimmage in week 1 last year, when he was a first-year starter, there was some learning curves. But Carson does some things for us that not every quarterback we've had can do, where He's 6'3", 6'4", with an arm. Also runs really physically. He's able to run downhill and run all of our run game. And at the same time, if teams cheat, our play action, our screen game, our vertical pass game becomes really explosive, and that's what we leaned on last year. We still ran the ball 80% of the time between Carson and Aaron primarily, but when we passed, we were pretty explosive, whether it was Brody Weber, Austin Christensen, whoever it might be. So, that's part one. Like I said, part two with Austin, he went down week 5 or 6, whatever it was.
Yeah. And
we thought, maybe week to week, and then we got some, bad news there towards the early part of the playoffs, and we knew we were going to go in without him. And then he found out actually he didn't get cleared to play basketball till after Christmas. So it was a pretty severe thing that, he was hobbling on and walking on and trying to play through that. Just as tough a kid as he is, most kids, if they would have had that kind of injury, wouldn't even thought about it, and he was trying to get back as soon as possible. So we're excited to have Austin back. Those two guys probably don't have the stats that they would have had with the complete season. We've got a lot of seniors that graduated from a team from last year. So when you go and look, we're probably not going to lead the state in returning anything. Obviously we're not getting a lot of preseason pub and some of the polls and predictions, and that's fine with our guys. We know what we have. We know what we have in house, and at the same time with our schedule, we're going to go play Remsen St. Mary's. We're going to play Fremont Mills out of district. And then in our district with our WEVA, KM, go on down the list, we're going to have some competition. It's going to sort itself out. You're going to get your 8 games in, and the rankings and such will take care of themselves at that point in time.
Yeah, IA football, I know I saw that poll, and you weren't even on the list. And I can tell you this, I vote every week in the Radio Iowa poll, and I voted you guys 4th. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but that's where I voted you.
I've known Coach. Well, I've watched his teams for many years, and he probably doesn't want you to say that. But I'm going to ask you this: you've had some unbelievable teams that have gone to the Dome and done great things. When you look at this team healthy, how would you compare to this year's team to some of the top teams that you've had in the past?
We said as a coaching staff, our starters this year are bigger than we've ever been, or as big as we've ever been, and our top end talent is as talented as we've ever had. The biggest thing we don't have is a ton of experience and a ton of depth. Our skill guys aren't as deep as most years where we can just put in another receiver, another tight end, etc. So if we stay healthy, we'll be all right. And the same thing with experience. Our playoff loss to Remsen last year, the only returning starter from that defense in that game is our nose guard, Isaac Sorensen. Graduated both DNs to graduation. Our 3 DBs, and we led the state with 25 INTs, are all 3 graduated. And our 2 linebackers in that game, we had Carter Obermeyer out with a torn ACL and Austin Christensen out with a knee injury as well. So we've got a lot of experience that's going to have to come along, and you can't force that. It's got to happen. Right. So we saw in the scrimmage Friday night, we're still green in some areas, but teams show a lot of growth early, week 0 to week 1, week 1 to week 2. If we're able to stay healthy and our kids keep attacking like they've attacked at the preseason, they've attacked the offseason, the sky's the limit, and our guys know that. When we set the expectations, it's make the playoffs, win your district, play indoor football, and win a state title, and it doesn't change year to year, and these guys are excited to try to go do that.
Well, I think Christians is going to have more than 6 catches this year. That's all he had last year. He'll have more than 44 tackles. That's what he had last year. Mason Casper Bauer will have more than 500 yards rushing. That's what he had last year. Aiden Kiergaard will have more than 200 yards rushing. That's what he had last year. You got a chance to get Mason and Aiden playing time last year, and that's something we talked about there with Darryl is towards the end of the games. So you know a little bit about what they can do. This is like other teams don't. Right. I might be giving away your secrets.
No, Aiden and Mason were our primary Monday night JV ball carriers and feature of our offense. But they were also played a lot of second halves on Friday nights, and they're both 2 such spectacular athletes that in junior high they knew what they were doing. They were able to figure out the offense pretty quickly. When you have that quarterback running back chemistry in the same grade, and they've been in the same backfield for year in and year out, now that by their sophomore year it feels like they're upperclassmen, and they're not. So they give us a lot of depth there. Carter Obermeyer's back now, healthy to play running back as well. So we feel like any combination of Carson and Aiden at quarterback, Carter and Mason at running back, any mixture of those 4, we're excited about that because both quarterbacks are dual threat. Both running backs are very physical. And we feel like we can mix and match a little bit to stay healthy and find some matchups. And the other thing about Aiden and Mason is they're both sophomores going to start on the defensive side as well. So if we can get those guys to get some subs on one side or the other to stay fresh, hopefully we can find that way. If Mason comes out and breaks off a long run, and we know we need him for defense, maybe the 2-point conversion we put Carter in on offense or something like that. So they're pretty interchangeable pieces, and we like where we're at there for the quarterbacks and running backs, no doubt.
See, John, they're going to rotate quarterbacks just to confuse broadcasters.
Yeah, exactly.
How about up front, offensive line and defensive line? I'm sure you'll get some guys going both ways. But how do you feel about your linemen coming back?
If we get our dream scenario, we won't have anybody going both ways.
Oh, wow.
We're right now offensive line. Hayden Larson's our leader at one guard, 6'3", 225, 230. Really physical. Was our leading puller last year on the JV level. Whether it's counter, power, trap, buck sweep, he's a kid with his at 6'3", and a DB sees that coming. That's a pretty scary thought for those people. and he wants it. He's physical. He wants to get out there in space. Center, we returned Clay Van Arnhem. He's been dinged up with a little bit of an injury here through camp and such. So we've also rotated in sophomore Ty Bolin there, who missed last year due to injury. And then the other guard spot has been Lane Meyer, who's a junior that, like I said, was 6'1", 205, and is now 6'3", 6'4", 245.
Wow.
Clean 315, back squatted 475, made state and track for shot put. Can dunk a basketball with ease. Just has really come into his own athletically. That's he just has to figure out the football piece now, where he hasn't had a lot of those reps other than JV level. D-line, we're hoping Isaac Sorensen will anchor us in the middle, and then we have two sophomore DNs we're really excited about. Hayden Hudson Hooker is one of our defensive ends. Another kid that went from the 175, 180 to 205, 210 or whatever it is in a year, and has put up some good weight. Had a good scrimmage Friday. Then our other DN, Ty Bolin, I mentioned him. He missed last year as a freshman. Another kid that's 225 or so. So if we can rotate in an O-line and a D-line, I think that'll help us a lot in the long run. But at the same time, we're going to play the guys that give us the best chance to win and also be able to sub. So if those three guys are going on the D-line and somebody needs a breather or they got a long drive going, we feel like we can sub in 1, 2, 3, however many guys we need to maybe give that offense a different look.
Yeah.
You talk about the offense and different looks, and with the amount of seniors you had this year, how do you look at, like, you have a program and you have what you want to do, but how do you evolve class by class or year by year with using the strengths, if it even is a pulling guard or getting maybe not just skill guys, sometimes even linemen as they evolve or as they get older down even through a season.
Yeah, we really evolved, kind of switched our offense. When we had Gavin Smith, we were more empty, more quarterback run game without really much of a running back or motion. Prior to that, when we had Skylar Schultes, we were really spread with a really quick quarterback. We didn't want as many guys in the box. Now with the personnel we have, we're more of that single wing look where we want to put a tight end and a wing on the same side, make the defense commit to that strength, and then give us, if you're light on the heavy side, we're going to run buck sweep and lead and power. You start over committing to that, we're going to come back and run speed option or quarterback trap or whatever it is. And that's been based on our personnel. We didn't have a lot of tight ends for a while, and now we have kids that look like Brody Weber and Austin Christensen that we need to use up front. Lineman-wise, it really comes down to if you can pull. We're going to pull. We're a gap scheme. We're going to run counter power, buck sweep a ton. If you can move a guy off a spot, you're going to play guard. Centers, we really need more of that strength piece where we can't have a nose guard surging in the backfield because we've got pulling guards going. So our bigger, stronger guys, we're going to play more at center. Our guys that are more mobile, we're going to try to play at guard. And then everything else, we kind of fit to our personnel. If we want to go two tight ends, we'll bring in Hudson Hooker and take out a receiver. If we want to go spread, we'll just move those tight ends out and put them on the outside because they still present a mismatch. We can run multiple formations and such, but our terminology doesn't change either. So our motion doesn't change, our run game doesn't change. So, and then we put that on our skill guys. They have to know where they're lining up, what their rule becomes, what the play is, and our guys now and heading into year 10 or whatever it is now of 8-man football. We haven't changed a whole lot there, but we definitely tweak year to year.
Yep. So your opener is where you ended.
Close.
But this time they got to come to your place. Remsen St. Mary's, but they graduated a lot off of last year's squad that eventually won the state title. So how are you feeling about? Well, I'm sure you feel ecstatic about not having to go on the bus ride all the way up there. But what do you know about them and what they got coming back and what you're gonna have to see in week 1?
Yeah, we don't have any film from them. They graduated a lot of their production, but so did we. Like I said, when we played up at their place, we returned 1 defensive starter. I believe they were the same boat. I think they started 8 seniors on offense and 7 on defense. So there's a lot of new faces they're going to be the same way. Some people will respect them in a preseason poll based on their name on the jersey. Others may not know due to loss of how many seniors they had. But one thing I know that we should all know about Remsen St. Mary's is they're going to reload. They've got, I believe, 7 freshmen, 7 sophomores, and only 3 upperclassmen. But I know that sophomore class, based on what I had heard last year as freshmen, they were pretty much running the JV show. I believe they've got a 6'2", 205, something like that quarterback, where probably going to look a lot like last year when they had that physical kid running the quarterback. He's played catcher in the baseball season. That linebacker catcher mentality at quarterback really fits in well with what they want to do with their power run scheme. I'm sure they'll still throw it. Every year they've tried to keep teams honest with some of their play action and their quick game as well. They're so fundamentally sound. They do the little things right. And we're going to have our hands full because they're not just due to graduation. They're not going to fall off, and they're going to want us bad. We've seen them a lot. We know each other well, and just a lot of mutual respect. We picked each other to play each other in the off season because we matched up 1-to-1. We selected each other because we knew we'd give each other a good challenge, and we weren't going to see each other in the regular season anyway. So why not go out week 1 and find out a good measuring stick of where you're at, learn something about yourselves. So as we head into district play week 2, we're as ready as possible.
Oh, mutual respect right there. Let me tell you, to see Remsen in the first one and want to see Remsen, that's brave, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Well, Coach, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and maybe try a mini moose burger on the way out. And I think we talked to the folks here. They said, somebody asked them, what's a mini moose? They said, that's a deer. No, it's a burger. So, Sean, we look forward to following your Wheelers throughout the season, and good luck. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sean Burks, head coach for Audubon football, joining us here. Chris and John with you. We got Jack, we got Tom, we got Aaron. Everybody's hanging out. We got Matt Strait, head coach for Logan Magnolia, coming up. But up next, Nick Coppin of Cam couldn't join us here. He had something come up at the last minute, so we'll talk to him coming up next, and then we'll get to Logan Magnolia, which I think Coach just walked in the door. And so that's all coming up. We're back in 2 minutes here on KSOM.
one down deep in double coverage and then get picked off. But other than that, really good. Sometimes you just gotta stick what they give you, even if it's 4th and 20. Sometimes the best thing to do is going down the flat. So, that's stuff we'll work through this year.
How about the tailback position? I mean, Paulson was the leading rusher last year. Kate Paulson the leading rusher last year. Ray Chester also gone, but Caden Winter was got some time last year, and he had a 7 yards per carry average. Pretty solid. He just had some big guys.
Yeah, he'll get good speed, good vision. Solid. He'll back. They're both got good speed and vision, and they got good feet. Shift the speed.
How dangerous is McCann if you can get him in the open field? I've heard he's got wheels.
They are both.
How about at the receiving corps? You mentioned to me before that Zach can throw the ball a little bit. So who do you got to catch it?
Well, Colin Bauer, obviously the main threat, the main target. He's probably going to draw a lot of double coverage this year, so that should be
I got duct tape in the
tight end, and then run it back in that backfield. So we should be in good shape. And then also Casey Calhoun's back, which he would be like a slot back in a 2-by-1 receiver set. So he's got excellent numbers. We're in good shape.
How can you just describe what Colin Bauer means to you as a football player? I mean, he's an incredible defender. He's an incredible pass catcher. He's an incredible athlete. He's just one of those kids that just fills out a uniform. And you look at him and that's a football. I mean, even when I interviewed him during the baseball season after he had 2 home runs in one game, I was looking up to him and I'm thinking, here's a football player who's playing baseball. And that's a compliment to me. I mean, he's just an amazing athlete. What can you say just about what he means to you?
Well, I mean, it's 6'3", 208 or something like that. I think he ran a 4.69 40 and 35 inch. So that always he's got to work through the mental aspect of being a senior leader. But I think he's off to a good start. So I think the other side of the thing is they're on double coverage. He's going to have to be patient and not get frustrated with anything like that. So it's going to be a little different for him this year. He's going to be on everybody's radar.
He'll be on everybody's radar on defense. He had 21 tackles for a loss a year ago, but I imagine you're going to expect him to wreak havoc again.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if he draws a double team there, then that frees up the linebacker. So either way, we're in good shape.
Well, Casey Calhoun had a big year last year as a sophomore. I mean, he 10 tackles for a loss, 59.5 tackles overall. I imagine you're going to find a spot for him, and if you double team Colin, it'll free up Casey.
Yeah, he's going to play both ways. He's a kid that loves football, he likes contact, he's got the right attitude, and he's a good kid.
So who else do you see as starters there defensively? Take us to the line and back what you got in the secondary.
Well, I think up front, Will Rouse, he's nose guard. He's like a bowling ball play. He's just a machine out there. He's so physical. He ran so good last night. I feel sorry for the kid, but Caden Will, Drew Barber will be at the defensive end spot. Brent Hoover will be our strong side linebacker. And then Cohen McCann, he's a weak side backer. strong side, outside backer in basic accounting, and then safeties, Hayden Winter, rover positions, Carson McKenna. Carson's, he kind of emerged last year as a lockdown man coverage guy. He's so quick. He can jump like crazy, so he's a great guy for backfield.
And I skipped over the offensive line. We went straight into defense, but don't want to leave out those big guys up front there on the O-line. What do you have in those spots going into the season?
Well, we're still trying to decide everything there. The way it looks right now is we have Caden Will at center, Will Rouse at guard, and then Brenton Hooper at the other guard. We've got a couple other guys that we could next. Bryce Zimmerline at center possibly, and some other spots that could get mixed around. We'll see.
Doesn't hurt to rotate guys and keep them fresh. That would be a plus, I think. So that will sort itself out, I imagine, as you go along. And just how would you describe the biggest key for this football team? It's had such a great tradition. You have a lot. You lost a lot, but you have some stars coming back here. It looks like, and this team might fly under the radar a little bit. It's kind of hard to say that for Cam. What do you see is what this team can do this year?
Well, I think physically we have everything, and so it really comes down to the mental side. Can we clean up the mental states? Can we play sound football and be in position and get lined up properly and all that kind of stuff? It's really everything's mental the way I see it. You've got kids that are speedy, you've got strong kids, you got everything you need physically, so it just comes down to the mental aspect.
Well, we will see you on Friday night, Coach, as we open up against Fremont Mills. We'll have coverage of that here on KSOM. Looking forward to seeing you against the Knights. It's going to be a tough opener. We'll talk more about that later in the week. So appreciate your time here on our preview show, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.
Yep. Thank you, Chris.
Nick Kaufman, head coach for Cam football, with us here on our high school football preview show on KSOM.
Griswold Communications has decreased the monthly price
2 minute
for
warning.
wireless routers and Wi-Fi extenders for Blue Surge Internet. No need to maintain a wireless router or Wi-Fi extenders yourself when we will for a low monthly fee. And with the included Command IQ app, you gain the power to manage, automate, and secure your network.
Yes, but you put those on there.
Device. Add to your wireless
Awesome.
experience
Everything
with
okay?
Altus,
Can you hear okay?
and we'll
Yeah, I
waive
got
the
you.
fees
Perfect.
to install. Call Griswold Communications at 778-2121.
Well, I appreciate you coming, Coach.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah,
We
we're
want to
good.
step up our coverage of Logan Magnolia
Network.
this year. And it was one of our goals when I looked at other teams. I think we've done here on KSOM. That's our high school football preview show. We're live from the Bucksnort restaurant in Neola. We'll be talking to Coach Peterson, the new head coach for Tri-Center, coming up. We also have Joe Brummer, head coach for Atlantic. We'll be talking to him. Soon it'll be Drew Buckholt, head coach for Exira EHK. Nate McHaleson, head coach for Underwood. Our sponsors, Be Restorative Walnut, Sideline Sports and Tees of Neola, Mid-States Bank of Neola, Wyman's CarQuest, Olson's Fuel Supply, Messina Telephone, Hummel Insurance, Cumberland Telephone Company, Adair Feed and Grain, Griswold Communications, FNB, Lyman Ag Supply, Armor Insurance, Marnie Elkhorn Communications, Union State Bank, Seed Pros, Conductix, Wampler, Community Insurance. See how many people want to jump on the bandwagon here, Coach? Matt Strait, head coach for Logan Magnolia, joins us now. And, Coach, thanks a lot for stopping by. And that's something we want to do is talk more about Loma here in the future and your football program coming off a 5-4 season. How are you feeling coming into a new year?
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, we have really good leadership. We have a good culture going on right now at our school, not just in our football program, but our school. And so that's easy to go in when you have strong senior leadership, strong junior leadership. They're going to do the right thing for the most part and buy into what you're selling, and they are. So it's exciting, that part.
So tell me about Ashton Pazulik, your quarterback. Last year as a sophomore, threw for over 1,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, only 7 picks. Obviously, you got to be excited about those kind of numbers as a sophomore. Tell me about what he brings to the table as your QB.
Yeah, he puts more time in, probably almost than anybody else on the football program. Goes to a lot of camps, just spends a lot of time outside, practice time, trying to perfect his craft of throwing. And so when your quarterback does that, that's a good thing. He had a great year last year for us, considering we went from a wishbone that we've done forever into more of a spread style that a lot of people are doing. We didn't know how it would look, and he certainly had the skills to make us somewhat successful in that, and we're hoping just to improve with that because of his improvement this year.
Yeah. What strides do you think he's made from last year to this year?
Well, I mean, just playing. I mean, the more you see coverages and reads and all those things help. He's gotten bigger and stronger and faster and all those things. So he's a weight room guy. And so I think because of that, we're going to ask him to do a little bit more with his feet than we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
We lost kind of a run game in West Van and Will Anderson from last year, and so we need to find guys who can get carries. We have a couple guys in the backfield we think can do a good job there, but because we lost those playmakers, I think Ashton's going to have to pick his run game up.
Did anybody ever catch Will Anderson on the football field? Ever?
That
guy's fast.
Yes, he's.
I saw him during track season.
100-meter champion, so that was his craft for sure. Run away from people.
Yeah. So what do you have in the running game coming back this year? I mean, you had about 1,700 yards passing, 880 yards rushing. Is the goal to try and even things out, or do you like the pass first approach?
We have to be a better run team for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We went from many years of any time you had 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, just because our style was automatic first down, and last year we couldn't do that anymore, and so. Which I didn't like, so that's tough, when you can't convert short yardage situations. You're not going to win close football games when you do that. And so we have to be able to do that this year. We think we have our line last year was all young. They're a year older. We have 2 of the better tight ends, I think, in Class A in the state. And so because of that mix, I think we can push people off the ball a little bit. We're going to have to be successful.
Who are your tight ends?
Carson Eddy, he's 6'5", 225, and Adam Roden's 6'2", 6'3", 190, both great kids, senior kids, and have been playing for a couple years for us.
Coach, you talk a little bit about the culture, for your whole school and the community and everything. As you look at your team in general and the younger kids, how does that culture bring those kids along maybe a little bit faster in a program like yours than others? I mean, can you speak about that a little bit?
Right. It's such a big part. It's for the freshmen coming in, it's really difficult for them. They're
Sure.
going from what the junior high style is like, and then they're jumping into playing against much older kids. And so, first of all, we're really careful about the physical situations we put those kids in. Even sometimes JV games, we hold some of the lighter and smaller kids even out the first half of JV season because we're just not ready to physically get in there yet. So we're really careful physically, so we want anybody to get scared and shy and all those different things. So we're that part. And then we kind of have a buddy program where we have the seniors match up with the freshmen. hey, they look out for those guys, like never yell at them, always asking after practice, how's it going for you, and all those different things. And so I think that helps us well. Because we can't lose kids in Class A program, you might have 10 that come out per year,
Sure,
and you can't
right.
lose those kids because all of a sudden you're going to be in the 20s, and that's hard to run a program in the 20s. And we've just been fortunate enough to have get that going, and my assistant coaches have been great, the teachers and coaches at Logan Magnolia. Man, I feel like just everybody's buying into the same thing. Like let's create these good kids, and these good kids are going to do great things for our school.
When you have a younger quarterback and he's as successful as he was last year and probably only 15, 16 years old. When he takes that next step, you talked about a little bit, how does the game slow down, or how can you communicate with him, maybe give him, I think about the Iowa State game yesterday where you as a quarterback matures, there's more things that they see in slower time just because of maturity and they're out there, right? I mean,
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, he's a smart kid, and so he can pick up a lot. And he's always asking. He asks really good questions. He loves to be challenged. They're a pretty competitive kid too. So because of all of those things, we keep on throwing more at him and see what he can retain and see what he can pick up. But that's a great point because you see some of the best kids in college go pro, and it looks like they've never played the position before.
Right,
and
absolutely.
so transitions are hard, and transitioning to our style of offense wasn't easy last year, but he did a great job at it. And I think he's just going to grow and keep getting better.
How do you feel about your receivers and the guys coming back that are going to provide targets for Pazulik?
Yeah, I mean, Edney and Roden, I said, are both nice big targets for him, so they're going to be a big part of that. Crosby Yoder is a junior for us, a little scat back type guy that can catch the ball. Jason Kastner, a senior, is a nice solid receiver for us, and we had a kid actually come out for the first time. He's a junior, but come out for the first time, and man, he's one of our quicker kids, and he'll be a big part of it, and Brody Davis as well.
Yeah. How about up front? Big eaters, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. You're gonna have a lot of guys go both ways, or how do you see that?
I think we're probably going to start some guys both ways just because they're the best guys right now. But that is the good thing is we're too deep at every O-line position, D-line position, so we can rotate, and that's hard to do in Class A football.
Wow,
and so
absolutely.
I think we can keep guys fresh and play hard, and we feel confident that we have the bodies to do it.
Yeah, that's what Sean Burks was talking about at Audubon. It's like they're not going to go both ways. They're going to try not to go both ways, and to not go both ways at Class A or 8-man.
Especially, talk a little bit more about that. I mean, and at any level in high school, to be that deep, is it just the class in general? Is it what you're feeding them? I mean, if they're eating some of these burgers here
Swamp
all the time,
donkeys.
yeah. But I mean, has it always been that way? I mean, have you always been that deep, or is it just this group of kids right now? It kind of gives you that extra dimension.
Yeah, certainly this group. There's been several last years we've really struggled to how do we keep this player on the field on offense, defense, and a few special teams, and that's been our biggest challenge lately is how to do that. And so it's nice having in obviously every position where you can't do
Right.
that with. We're going to
Yes.
have some kids to suck it up and do it the whole night on the field. But we have more opportunities this year to get more rest for kids, and that's going to benefit especially as the year goes on.
How about the defensive side? Roden, I think, at 53 some tackles. He's back. Tyson Jenkins, I think, back 60 tackles a year ago. What do you like on the defensive side?
Yeah, Jenkins got banged up before the season started, got in a little car accident, so he's going to be out a bit for us. And I felt bad for him, but he'll still see some time this year. But yeah, Roden, Edney up front as a D end. Yeah, he's a different guy. He should be an all-state performer on both sides, I think, this year. He's getting recruited by some pretty good colleges right now. I think Northwest Missouri State's offered him and says he's their top tight end. So he's that kind of body. So he's going to play physical there. And then, like you said, Roden's versatile. We can move him at DB or put him at linebacker and move him around a little bit. Max Wingert is, running back, linebacker will make a lot of plays for us too. And the defensive front, Cale Wallace, has started for 2 years now. This will be a third year start, and he's just a motor nose guard guy. You just turn him loose and let him go and let him bounce around, and ultimately he usually finds the ball.
Can you talk a little bit? I mean, you talked about how with your personnel, you've changed your offense. Have you done that, or do you see your defense, has it stayed the same, or as a group of kids or this group of kids? You talk about a different individuals that can move from linebacker to D-back? Does it depend on the week? I mean, how do you determine on a defensive side scheme on where you're going to put the different athletes?
Yeah, well, it's that's a good question. We've been a three-man front for the last several years because we've had very few linemen, and so we're like, let's just put three guys down in defense, and then that way we can put more skilled guys on the field and run around a little bit better. Now it's kind of just the opposite. We got a lot of linemen now, just because they've gotten older. The young guys have gotten older, but maybe we don't have the linebacking crew or the DB crew we've had, and so now we're going to more of a four-man front position and taking somebody down there and putting their hand down. So. Defensively, certainly it matters who your guy. I think it matters who your guys are, just because of the lineman situation. And then offensively, man, we've been so physical for so long, coming off the ball and getting yards, and then all of a sudden we had a light senior class last year that was skilled but not great physical runners. And we were light up front. We couldn't push people off the ball. We knew we were going to push people off the ball, but we had athletes that could spread you out, and so that's kind of why we switched there too. So I think in small school football, you try to keep tradition because the more you rep things, the better it is. So you try to keep what you can, and that's why we stayed with our offense for as long as we did. It was great success for us. But we're changing, and we're in year 2, and hopefully it improves.
So, Coach, your opener against AHSTW, I believe it's in Avoca. How do you feel about playing the Vikings in Week 1?
Yeah, I traded films with HSTW and the Scrimmage Tri Center, which is obviously an outstanding team, and it was impressive what HSTW did. I have a lot of respect for Coach Petit and what he does. We've played against each other for a long time, and glad to see him back on the sidelines. And I texted him first week of football practice. I said, Southwest Iowa football's better with you on the sidelines and instead of in the principal's office all the time. So, so yeah, I know they're going to be ready and they're going to be physical, and it's going to be a tough game for us. I think out of the gate, I think we're going to get to where we're going to be a pretty solid team. We're not there yet, so I don't know what games 1 and 2 will look like, or game 3 even. But I think if we're going to get to the point we're going to be happy with what we're putting out there. Man, because of so many bodies, we've rotated a lot, trying to figure out who our guys are. We don't have the reps either. I thought we looked sluggish Friday night we just inter squad scrimmage there. Just a lot of things to work on. So I think it's going to be a bit before we're happy with what we're doing on Friday night.
Well, you'll learn more after the first few plays, and then you'll learn more after that, and more after that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a process. But, Coach, really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for stopping by here on a Sunday late afternoon, evening. And make sure you get yourself a mini moose or something to go, and we'll be yakking at you throughout the season. Thanks so much.
Thanks for what you're doing for Southwest Iowa football.
Yeah.
Sure.
Matt Straight, head coach for Logan Magnolia. We're live at the Bucksnort restaurant here in at Neola, as we got plenty of coaches to talk to, and we'll get back at it. We're back here at the Bucksnort restaurant. I just like saying that term, Bucksnort. Oh, man, that's a great name. We're back in 2 minutes here on KSOM. here on KSOM. We are live at the Bucksnort restaurant in Neola, home of the 2024. I said 2020 twice, but 2024 Class A high school football state champions, the Tri-Center Trojans, and I have a new head coach this year, Steve Pudge Peterson, joining us here at the Bucksnort restaurant. And Coach, we're glad we could come into your backyard, and talk to you about your football season. Congratulations again, and
Thank you.
What a great year last year. And how are you feeling, after the first few weeks of practice?
We had a great camp. It's the same thing I've been saying so far is the kids are bought in, and that's been the easiest thing that with winning everything from last year, I really haven't had to recreate a culture or, install new things. All the kids are invested after what happened last year, and so it makes my job a lot easier. It's just dialing in and make sure they're ready to go.
How often do you get here to the Bucksnort to get to eat?
I live literally 2 blocks away, so this is a pretty nice little spot for me and my family. They enjoy coming here, or we get a lot of takeout from these guys just because we live so close. So
yeah. Well, Bud, I don't know if it was Bud who decided to put brisket on a burger, but man, that swamp donkey, oh my gosh.
Yeah, best around.
Oh man, that's good. Mm-hmm. That is good. As good as your football team. So, Coach Schroeder, Ryan Schroeder was the head coach last year, but you had a strong relationship with him. He decided to step on. Why not step away when you won a state title? What else can you do? Right. But you told me a little bit about why he did that. But what can you just say about your relationship with him and working with him all these years, and maybe how much that you were able to take from him and use that as now head coach?
Honestly, it's one of the best relationships that I have with somebody from Tri-Center, or even the Neola area. He's helped me and my family progress through my life as starting my family, and he helped me get the house out here because I used to live in Council Bluffs, so I was traveling and all the way out here to Tri-Center to go to practice every day. So I knew I wanted to get out here and get close, and Ryan helped me with that. And I owe him literally everything that has happened in my coaching career, and even a little bit to my home life too. Ryan gave me the chance to come back in DC when he took over after the John Tark's era, and that relationship has just always been strong. He's the guy that I lean on when I have questions with anything head coaching. He's not scared to help, and he still wants to be involved with the football team. So it's just easy, He's always going to be there for me when I need him, and I can't ask for a better friend than that.
You talked a little bit, Coach, about the culture, but how do you, with a team that's now always going to be hunted?
Yep.
How do you
go from the hunter to the hunted?
And you're still dealing with 14 to 18-year-olds,
correct?
Right?
Yep.
How do you continually challenge them so they still have the hunger that you guys had in the 2024 season?
It's all about details. Honestly, these kids they know the game of football now, right? And so they're out there executing in practice, and and we literally bring them in for film almost every single day, because the only way they are going to get better is if they are challenged, and they're not always challenged by the younger guys that we have, but at the same time, we're critical as them as a coaching staff. They know that they are held accountable for every single rep at practice, and if they don't do it, they are going to get talked to in the next day of film. So I think that's helped a lot, is these guys know they got to give 100% all the time, and we preach it. It's effort. I don't care if you make a mistake, but if you make that mistake and you're not going 110% and going to get somebody, you're going to be in trouble, or you're going to get a talking to by a coach. And Ryan actually installed that, when he came here, and I'm continuing it on because it has really worked. The kids are there to understand that they have to give it their all every single play, even if it's at practice, and kids are buying in on it. So.
Talk a little bit about that, because I know when I played college football, it wasn't as much the physical, it was the mental, watching the film. And talk a little bit about the mental side of the approach for your program, as far as reviewing film every day and truly knowing when they come out in this formation. And we saw that last year, even up in the booth. Yeah. You could tell your kids, especially the defense, there's times they knew the play before it was ran. And that, and so true. When you say that type of stuff, talk a little bit about that, and because the buy-in when you're on the field, but talk about the buy-in when you're just in front of a screen.
Yes.
And learning. I mean,
Correct. So we're actually coaches are up there talking about game plan right now. So it's one of those things where we come in as a coaching staff and we're breaking everything down. I mean, that's what you have to do. It's,
right.
It's scouting and everything. And then we are getting those kids in front of that film every single day. If it's not our watching ourselves, it is always watching the opponent. And we are literally breaking it all the way down to this is what you are going to see on this formation, or this is what you're going to see by this player. And then when he does this, and it's the kids see it. And we see it 4 or 5 times on film, every day of the week. And then we try to get these younger kids to also watch it and understand, hey, you're watching the offense because you're going to be running that offense for the entire week. And you need to try to do what they're doing and just implement those small things because it's all about their eyes. If their eyes are right and they know what they're watching, and that way, another thing that we preach is we don't want them to think. We want them to be able to see it, and then they're going right away, not thinking, okay, this guy's doing this, so I need to do that. Don't think, just do. And we've seen it. In these first 2 weeks, we're obviously implementing a few new things and getting some things going, and the kids aren't as fast as we wanted them to be, but it's coming. I mean, this last week was one of our best weeks of practice because things are starting to click where they're not thinking as much. They're just doing their job, and it definitely helps because if they don't have this film time, and it's one of those things when we first got here, I mean, film wasn't as big of a thing as it is now, and I think that's part of the difference is because these kids see it, and there's kids that don't learn by watching a screen or writing it on a board. They need to be out there actually physically doing it. Well, that's what practice is for, because then there's kids like me. I mean, I'm not very good at seeing it physically, but if I see it on a film and then I go draw it on the board, and so we literally check all 3 marks during the week for practice, so that way these kids are learning in whatever way they need to learn, and they know what's going on.
Coach, I think there's a lot of teams who would love to be in your shoes this year because you return a quarterback and you return 2 receivers that both had 70 receptions a year ago. I mean, you got Cale Witt, 74 catches, 1,100 yards. Zach Nelson, 73 catches, 1,100 yards. I mean, they were pretty close, 1,118, 1,130. A.J. Harder threw for nearly 2,900 yards.
Yeah.
Maybe you should implement the run shoot or something like that. I don't know. But, man, that's just got to be exciting to see all these guys come back and the rhythm that they got into, especially when it was on turf in the dome. It was fun to watch. How do you just kind of is there anything you tinker with those guys and just try to what do you do to try and make them better?
No, we're just honing in on literally the technique. I mean, working with these guys, getting on their cuts and on their breaks and doing things like that is just making them better. I mean, these kids are already athletes. They already know what a route is or where they need to go on this route. So there's no more like teaching them the game of football as far as how to run routes and how to do things. Now it's literally just tinkering with little tiny details that we are honing in on, and that's what's making them that much better. They went to camps all summer long. These kids are getting looked at by college guys, which is great. I mean, I love that with these boys because they've definitely put in their work. They put in the time and the work on watching film, going to camps, wanting to go better themselves every single day, and that's what makes it easy for me because as long as I'm watching them and making sure that I can hone in on their details on what they need to do to get better, they're all bought in and they're ready to do it. I'm ready to go. So there's no reason to change anything. Then when our success we had last year was just as good as we're hoping that we can have this year.
And then but you do have a decision to make at running back. I mean, Carter Coons, he's going to Grandview, which is one of the best NAIA programs in the country, and so he's going to get a great opportunity there. You told me earlier, a couple of weeks ago, Aiden Goldap and Kane Doggenbaugh were the 2 candidates to replace him. Coonsy, have you made any progress to settling on one right now?
No. I mean, honestly, we're gonna stick with both of those guys because they're 2 separate backs. One's a speed back, one's power back, and with some speed. So honestly, when we have a play call in, they can both do whatever play call we have, and they're equally just as good. So we have not honed in on just getting one guy back there right now. We're kind of just using a 2-back system, which I think is going to be beneficial for us down the road.
But maybe a guy that was underutilized last year in the offense was Jaden Johnson. And he was the tight end, but I mean, you only got one football, so, and you got a Coonsy, so you ride the horse that you have,
correct,
and until he's worn down, and he never wore down,
never did.
So what can we expect to see from a Jaden, and what talents does he bring to the offense?
Well, he can block. I can tell you that. I mean, he has one of our best offensive linemen, but he's a tight end because he has hands. So there's going to be a lot of usages for him when we want to split him out. He can play receiver, or we're going to put him in the box, and if they want to load the box, we're going to use him to block. And who knows? He might be able to catch a few more balls than last year, hopefully. So we'll see.
We only caught 3.
Coach, the first time we saw your team was actually at ACGC, and I remember talking that night on the radio and off air with Chris. The thing that amazed me about Harder, especially as a sophomore, he threw the ball to the place he knew your receivers are going to be.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and for a sophomore, and the trust, obviously, that those guys have. I mean, where's that come from? Are they like, I mean, do they always play pitch and catch? Is it just something that they have as, a synergy with each other? I mean, where does that come from? And a lot of it is obviously Harder, too. I mean, he's a very gifted quarterback.
Yep.
But for somebody as a sophomore or at any level in high school,
it's crazy
to put it to a spot and just trust and know that your teammate's going to be there.
Yeah, so I'm going to give a little bit of credit to our old offensive coordinator, Dave Carlson, because he implemented that in those guys as soon as AJ was a freshman, and he was throwing the ball to Zach and Kale a lot back then, and oh my gosh, you probably can't even calculate how many passes they've done. We're talking off season, during the school year, they're coming in and doing some stuff, so they just mesh as those 3 guys, and you can even throw Jaden in there. Like it's unbelievable, because I'll stand back there behind AJ sometimes at practice, and I mean, he's throwing this out route to Zach before Zach's even close to cutting and breaking, and it's like, how are you doing that? Because you put in our backup quarterback, and he's waiting for Zach to cut before the ball is even released.
Right.
It's really unbelievable, and AJ he trusts him, and you can see it because and also obviously you have one of the 2 best receivers in the state, where he knows if he puts it in this spot, they're going to go get it, and it's just one of those things where you can't really coach a kid like that because he's already got it. So once again, it's just working on footwork and the little details. That's what we work on now because he's already got everything else.
To take it one step further, talk about your offensive line a little bit too, because when you have a quarterback that gets rid of the ball probably a second and a half to 2 seconds quicker than 95% of the quarterbacks in the state,
right?
How does that
No,
exactly. Talk a little bit about when your offensive lineman, instead of having to block for 3 to 4 seconds, they only have to block for maybe 2.5.
Correct. We work on pass pro almost all day. I mean, I've been working with the offensive lineman now for the last few years, and it makes it a lot easier because we can adjust a few things to, okay, we know we need to protect the inside on this passing route because the ball's going to come out quick. If you want to try to rush us to the outside, that's fine. You're never going to get there in time. So there's little things like that we can implement with these offensive linemen that they pick up on really well. And then obviously people are going to bring pressure a lot more this year, honestly, I think. And so that's one thing that we've been working this offseason is being able to pass off these defensive ends or these defensive tackles with these blitzing backers. And then obviously when we have a running back that Carter, he blocked pretty well last year, but he also went out on routes, and we're going to implement that again this year. Is our running back's going to get out on some passing routes, so we got to rely on those 5 guys inside to make sure that we are going to protect AJ long enough to be able for them to get the ball. And like I said, I think people are going to bring pressure, but that's the thing that we got to do as coaches is make sure these kids know, like, hey, this is coming. This is how we're going to block it. And they're smart. I mean, we have 3 seniors, and they've been doing it now for 2 years. So all I got to do is draw something up on the board, and they're going to tell me, hey, I'm going to go get this guy, and I'm going to go that guy. So it makes it a lot easier on me because, I mean, I don't have to, explain things as much. So the 2 younger guys that are stepping into tackles, they need a little bit of extra work, which is obviously comes with the job with having a young guy step in. But they're coming along very well. I mean, the older guys are telling them what to do, where to go, and how to react to things. And so now we just got to get them some of that live reps, and I think it's going to click a little bit easier for them.
Who are the 2 young guys at tackle?
So Chaz Leaders is going to play on one side, and then Alex Woolheater will be on the other side.
And who are the 3 seniors?
So you got Aiden Goldab at guard, Brooks Anderson to call him Pickles. He's at center. He's the little guy that's the most famous center in the world, probably. And then,
I remember him. I remember him.
5 foot flat.
Yeah.
I think he says he's 5'3", maybe. So I got to give him a little credit.
No way. Is he
5 foot nothing?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's one of those things where everyone that sees him, or you walk in and they see Tri-Center football, they say Pickles because that's.
So here's the other thing, is he puts that snap. We talk about Harder a lot, but a lot of that is because Mr. Pickles gets him the ball right at the chest every single time.
Yep, and that's one thing we do pre-practice. I mean, we're throwing balls, and our center is there snapping at. The offensive linemen are down there doing their pre-practice stuff, but we have our centers with the quarterbacks at all times, because if you don't get that snap, like you said, that takes an extra second if AJ's got to move that ball around to be able to do something. So we make sure those centers and the center-quarterback relationship is always there, no matter every time that ball is snapped. I don't want a coach snapping it to the quarterback. I want that center to be able to get that ball to that quarterback so that way he knows what's going on. So it's definitely helped.
On defense, you do lose some key guys. Ethan Chesmore, Brent Freeberg, who I got a chance to talk to. What a great kid he was.
A great kid.
And Brenton Kramer. I mean, these were good football players.
Yep.
Who do you see as your leader on the defensive side coming in?
So Aiden Osbar is going to be stepping up on D-line. I mean, he played the other defensive tackle position along with Landon last year, so who was a senior and graduated. But Aiden will be on the line this year playing defensive tackle, and he's kind of he'll be the new Chesmore. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The kid's strong as an ox, and he's quick, so he's definitely going to be stepping in that all-state lineman role that Chesmore had. We're making sure that Aiden's stepping in and doing that. And then Jaden Johnson, he's going to be in a new role this year. He's probably going to be playing a little bit of a linebacker. We're going to put him on his feet this year just because the kid's an animal. So, yeah, hopefully he steps into that linebacker position and can cause some havoc because the kid's good. So.
Yeah. So your opener, St. Albert. What do you see from the Falcons in your first game?
Oh, Donnie's he's awesome coach. I mean, I'm telling you what, if I could learn some things, I could definitely learn some things from Donnie. So I know he's going to have those kids coached up. And they lost, their quarterback, and they lost a couple linemen last year, or just one. So I think they're going to rely on that run game, which is what Donnie wants to do, and which is good because if you run the ball, then you can open up the pass. And I know they got a young quarterback coming in that they still haven't decided on. So that's something that we obviously are going to lean a little bit more. I think they're going to try to run the ball on us, which is good. And then hopefully, we can stop them. Offensively, they're going to try to stop the pass, which is good. I think everybody's going to be looking for the passing game from us this year. So, yeah, I think we're ready to go. I mean, obviously, we're up there doing some coach meetings right now, get ready for the week. And Donnie played Red Oak last night, what St. Albert did. So, I don't know. They got a lot of hype, and I think they're going to be a lot better, a lot more competitive than they have been in the past. And we're ready for the challenge, though.
Well, Coach, glad we could make it to your backyard here,
thanks for coming, guys.
You could walk to our thing.
So what's the regular? What's your regular here?
What's your regular order?
I mean, I'm in season, so I'm trying to watch the weight a little bit. But I'm telling you, their crispy chicken wrap is by far the best thing I ordered.
Chicken wrap?
Chicken wrap.
Yep.
There we go.
Oh my gosh!
Of course, you can't go around with the swamp donkey or the buckinator or the chuckinator. I think is what it's called.
The chuckinator,
Man,
the Bucksnort patty melt.
Oh yeah,
but you can if you're watching your waistline, you couldn't go with a double armadillo.
I've ordered that one time, and let me tell you, I think it put me down for the rest of the night. But my kids love this place. I mean, their kids' meals here are fantastic.
Tater tots are on the
tater tots are great.
Dude, oh my gosh!
So good.
The wings. Did somebody have wings? Jack, did you have wings?
Yep.
He has thumbs up.
Yeah, that's a good thumbs up, man. Because those are. I mean, I'm telling you, this place.
You can't go wrong.
Anything you want here, from chicken to burgers to pizza to an appetizer night. I mean, you're coming here to grab some food because, I mean, why not? It's so good.
It's a road trip to me. This is a destination place. It really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, heck, they got garage doors.
Exactly.
That's atmosphere, man.
Yeah.
That's Iowa.
You need to come on their
Iowa.
Their volleyball nights, man. They get this whole crowd out here to play some.
Really?
Volleyball league. Yep.
Oh,
So are you saying?
Up.
Are you a setter or a spike?
I'm neither. I'm out there trying to bump the ball around with my daughter, and I'm not very good. I passed that on to the wife. I'll go play football.
There you go.
Coach, really appreciate
thank
it.
you guys,
it was
seriously.
a pleasure to
Thank you
watch your
very
team
much.
play last
It
year.
was.
And it'll be
True pleasure.
we're going to see you up in Odie Bolt.
Perfect.
Or actually, I think it's in Ida Grove.
Ida Grove, yeah.
Week 2, as you go up to see the DeJean territory.
Yeah, we call it OBCIGWXYZ.
OABCIG.
Yeah.
Odebolt, Arthur, Meadow Creek, Ida Grove.
Yep.
And so we'll be there for week 2 to see you in a regular season game, and of course be following you all year long on In the Huddle. So thanks so much.
Well, I appreciate your guys' coverage. It's been fantastic, and I'm glad you guys are here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks.
Steve Peterson, head coach for Tri-Center, joining us here on our high school football preview show. We're trying to get in connection with Drew Buckholt of Exire HK, and we'll try to track him down. Coming up next, Tom Robinson had a chance to talk with Joe Brummer, head coach for Atlantic football. We'll talk to him coming up after this 2-minute timeout here on KSOM. located in downtown Neola. Stop in or call 712-322-8833. Sideline Sports and Tea, where local pride meets custom style.
Remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan. Oh, come on, Rad! That's simple human sense.
Call Community Insurance in Audubon today at 712-563-4422 or stop by at 422 Tracy Street in Audubon. Join the team at Conductix Wampler. Conductix Wampler is currently hiring for the following positions: maintenance technicians, welders, and sheet metal fabricators. They offer competitive wages and an excellent benefits package in a work environment that truly values its employees. If you're looking for a company that truly cares about your growth and success, apply today. Learn more and apply online at conductix.us or apply in person at 1605 Industrial Parkway in Harlan. Conductix Wampler are proud to be an equal opportunity employer and strongly encourage military veterans to apply.
And we're joined by Atlantic head coach Joe Brummer. Coach, thanks for joining us here on the KSOM Coaches Preview Show. And well, I know last year lost some key offensive linemen. You have two leaders returning from a year ago: Jonathan Hetherington, first team All-District offensive lineman, and Jack Muller, who also was right in there for All-District selections as well. Talk about some of those positions that you need to fill this year on that offensive line.
Jack and Donnie are definitely two of our mainstays there. They're guys that saw a lot of time last year for us. And like you said, Donnie was a first-team guy, and Jack was not too far off in the voting first and second-team stuff. So, no, those two guys are really, competitive and really good where we need them to be. We kind of know what we're going to get out of them. They're slightly undersized weight-wise, but, Donnie with his wrestling background, Jack just with, getting some really good time last year for us are, really tough and physical guys up front. We got to find the other three. We got to find the center guard tackle on our right-hand side for us that, we got about 6 guys kind of in the mix there for 3 spots. So it's really good to see the competition that's going on for us. We have guys, Jonathan Kors is one that's a senior. Caleb Cameron's another senior for us. And then we got some younger guys in the mix there. Roland Hinman at a junior for us might see some time. And then Traven Thomas and Owen Miller are 2 sophomores competing for. Fortunate enough, we had a young man move in as well. His name's Craven Wiersma. That Craven's kind of in the mix there, getting some time. That between those guys, we're battling out. We're having our competitions. We're evaluating each and every day with those guys for 3 spots. So it's really great to see the competition. And some guys really getting after it.
Coach, what about the backfield? I know you've got your speedster, Ethan McNeil, back. You've got your fullback, Gavin McLaren, D1 recruit at and commit, I should say, at South Dakota State U. What's it mean to have those 2 guys back? And who else is? I think you've got some other prospects there too, huh?
Yeah, no, it's great to have the experience. The younger guys can ask questions. If I'm working with someone else, or Coach Perkins, our running backs coach, is working with someone, those older guys, those experienced guys have those answers. Ethan's quiet. He's very reserved, but, he knows what he's doing. He knows the reads. He's got a lot of the stuff down back there. And Gavin's more vocal. Gavin, more of a talkative type, has the personality, as you very well know, in talking to him, that he carries himself very well and is very knowledgeable of what we're trying to do. This is 3.5 years, basically. He got a lot of time late in the year, his freshman year, playing some mop-up duty type of stuff there at fullback, that he understands what we're trying to do offensively at the fullback spot. So those two have brought a lot of leadership, a lot of knowledge, and are doing a great job passing that on to, the younger guys that are getting some time. Like you mentioned, some other guys you might see in the backfield. Colin Rudy's taking some reps for us. Landon Hagan would be the name that hopefully you hear some from. Xander Killian's another one that Rudy being a senior, Landon and Xander being sophomores, that those are going to be some guys that hopefully are getting a lot of carries, getting into the mix and mixing things up for us that keeps, different depths at different levels there with Colin being a senior, Ethan being a junior, Xander and Landon being sophomores there. Keeps us fresh, keeps us rotating, and definitely has a good different mix and dynamic that they all bring something special to the table.
Good depth there at the running back. What about the receivers here? You've got some experienced guys coming back to catch the ball, too.
Yeah, definitely led Corbin Ritter and Brock Goodrich are two guys coming back for us. Brock kind of gets bounced around, tight end, our Z wide receiver, our X wide receiver, that he can play all three of those, and we want to move him around as much as possible. Corbin Ritter was a starter for us last year as well. Corbin's moved over to our X wide receiver. It's kind of the guy that we put out in space, tries to get the one-on-one matchups. It's a spot that we definitely rely heavily upon, that we need to be able to execute and have some open field stuff with him. And he can also play Z. That's what he did last year, our motion, our shift, our move-around guy, that it gives us versatility when those two can be active and move around a lot for us. Some younger guys coming into that spot, Xander Killian would be one. We might see him move around quite a bit as well. Jackson Hepler's a sophomore that's been getting some time there for us. Landon Hagan is another slot guy for us that he's quick, he's shifty, he can do a lot of movement in space. That we've been rotating those guys in. And then Trevor Ellison's another big-bodied wide receiver for us, tall, lanky, that he's very athletic in space, that we're looking really good depth-wise, again, with our skill guys out there at wide receiver, that it gives us some change of pace and different things that we can do.
Quarterback, I know a year ago, Jaden was injured, and then Tristan Hayes took over. He's graduated. What about quarterback spot here?
Yeah, no, Zayden's back. Zayden looks really healthy for us. He had a great off season in the spring with doing tennis. Coach Mack keeping an eye out on him, making sure that we weren't pressuring things too quickly or too much there in a hurry. But he did a fantastic job. He looks good. He looks back in shape. That he's kind of our odds-on favorite right now. But like everything, it's a competition. Grant Petty's been getting some reps back there for us. Brandon Wagner looks really good for us as well. That are some guys that you could see time back there as well. That they're doing great. They each bring something special to the table. Zayden's got the big arm. Grant's athletic and can move and run. And then Brandon's just extremely smart when it comes to football. He's played, I think we joke about this every while. We call him Taysom Hill. That he's played a little bit of everything. Brandon's been at X, at Z. He took some snaps at tight end, quarterback, fullback, halfback, safety, corner. We joke we're going to put him at center sometimes just so he can say he played every spot on offense. But that just adds that he knows where everybody needs to be. He knows all the offense. That he does a really good job of understanding spacing, placement, and then what we're trying to do offensively. So they all bring something special to the table, and they all work really well together.
Coach, on the defensive side, what's this look like for you?
Yeah, we're bringing a lot of depth back in the secondary. Shelton was a little dinged up for us last year, but he still started for us beginning of the year and is back healthy this year. At corner, Sawyer Terrell broke his ankle last year, unfortunately, in the Clark game, but brings back experience and knowledge of starting 2 or 3 games for us. Hunter Nelson, same thing, started quite a few games for us in the secondary, depending on the team that we played, but started 6 or so games for us. And then bringing back those 3 with experience, with depth and knowledge, and then Grant Petty as well started for us at corner as a sophomore. So the whole secondary is back, per se, with experience if they stay healthy. I'm just trying to stay away from that injury bug, and those 4 guys look to be out there a lot of the time. And then kind of a linebacker, kind of a secondary guy for us. Carter Hadley's always bumped out of the box with second and tackles for us. That he's looking to come back in that spot. We've kind of moved him around a lot depending on who we play, and he's going to be a key and vital role again this year. Now he's only a junior. That's kind of what our secondary is going to look like starting day one for us.
I want to talk about linebackers and defensive line. I know Jake Wales is back over 60 tackles a year ago, and we did mention Carter Hadley that played that defensive back linebacker as well. So we'll touch on the linebackers, and and talk about this core coming back here in 2025.
Carter, linebacker, DB. He plays in the space. He's probably considered a linebacker. Him and Jake coming back for us is great for us. Two of the guys that led us in tackles, which is by design. Carter's in a position there that he's got to make a lot of plays. Jake does a really good job of pumping a nose for the football. That both of those guys are going to have to be leaders for us, just with the experience that they gained from a year ago. The other linebacker spot is kind of up for grabs right now. Colin Rudy, Hank Roberts are two guys that are doing a phenomenal job as seniors, battling out and doing a great job of competing for us. That is going to be really great to see. Eric Albert and Roland Hinman are a couple other names that you might hear on Friday nights, making some plays hopefully for us in some capacity in that linebacking core as well.
Coach, what about the D-line? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, D-line is going to be kind of by committee type of thing, kind of like we did a year ago, trying to keep the big guys fresh. It's something that we don't have an abundance of in the O&D line, so it's going to be vital for us to make sure we're rotating a lot of guys, moving a lot of people in and out. It's going to be, it's a really a tough spot for us that is going to be heavily relied upon by a bunch of seniors. Gavin McLaren's going to see some time. Donovan Henrington's going to be in there. Jack Muller's going to see some time for us. At an end spot, Brock Goodrich is going to put his hand in the dirt for us a little bit, being the physical guy that he is, a little GM spot for us there as well. Draven Smith's going to see some time. Craven Wiersma is another kid that you're going to see. Matt Pollock, Draven Mitchell, Robert Delgado might see some time for us as well as a sophomore. That it's a lot of different bodies in there trying to find the right mix and match and combo for us up front for those guys.
Trojans open up the season home next Friday night, August 29th against Glenwood in a non-district game. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. We'll have a broadcast on 95.7 FM, live video stream on westerniowatoday.com TV and on YouTube.
At Seed Pros, our mission is to be your business partner every day of every
What,
season.
your headsets?
Pioneer Hybrid International
deaf.
was founded in Iowa
No,
back
you're-
in 1926.
Turn me up a little.
We're back at the Bucksnort restaurant in Neola. Here on our high school football preview show, brought to you by Community Insurance, Conductix Wampler, Seed Pros, Union State Bank, Marnie Elkhorn Communications, Armor Insurance, Lyman Ag Supply, FNB, Griswold Communications, Adair Feed and Grain, Cumberland Telephone Company, Hummel Insurance, Messina Telephone, Olson's Fuel Supply, Wyman's CarQuest, Mid-States Bank of Neola, Sideline Sports and Tees and Be Restored Walnut. We have plenty of other coaches coming up here on our high school football preview show. We're waiting on Nate McKelson, head coach for Underwood. His practice is going to be over at 6 o'clock, and then he'll be coming in, and that'll be our last coach here at the Bucksnort. We'll have some other coaches that couldn't make it. Drew Buckle of Exira could not make it because he had a family thing going on today. We had hoped that we would talk to him. So we thought we'd just talk amongst ourselves. Tom Robinson, the voice of the Trojans, John Becker.
The other thing,
we could fill for the next hour, the three of us, I think.
I started smelling the pizza. I'm like, we got to keep talking football.
I was just going to say.
Although you're going to devour the pizza.
I was going to devour the pizza that's across the room here. But no, this has been awesome. I mean, the coaches, Tom alluded to it. I mean, everybody's excited. I mean, Chris, we talked about it Friday night. It was great to see the kids back on the field. I mean, it felt like fall. I mean, it was a great night. Sydney really has a nice facility down there, even though it's even the locals said it was at the edge of the earth, and it kind of is. We had a little issue trying to find it, but no, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I tell you, the crowd moved. You talk about the smell, and the crowd's moved in here and ordering food, and it's getting me hungry now. But it smells delicious, and great to be here at the Bucksnort, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great place. You need to check it out. It really is a destination restaurant here in Neola, and it's wonderful, just great atmosphere, and you think they have a few deer on the walls? I mean, geez.
There's a few, yeah.
Just a few. Tom, we just got through talking. You got through talking with Joe Brummer for Atlantic, and the Trojans had a great start to their season last year, and then they started to run into some tough competition and just fell short of making the playoffs. They have their injured quarterback back. They got some promising running backs back. They got some talent coming back. What's your thoughts about what Atlantic has coming back this year?
Yeah, they went 6-4 a year ago, Chris. Like you said, they got off to a 4-0 start to start the season. One of the best starts we've seen in many, many years. They have a lot of depth in the backfield and in their skilled positions. Receivers are back. Corbin Ritter's back. Brock Goodrich is back at receiver. Xander Killian is a young man, a sophomore, that really showed what he could do last Friday night in that scrimmage. So you're going to hear a lot about Xander Killian on the receiving side as well. In the backfield, we all know Gavin McLaren, South Dakota State University commit, and he played sparingly, in the scrimmage, but he's going to be a really important piece of that offensive puzzle. Ethan McNeil scored a 37-yard touchdown in that scrimmage, and again,
he's got wheels.
He's got wheels. You saw him at the state track meet, Chris.
Yes.
Well, that 4x1 team, it broke the record.
He didn't even run anchor for the 4x1.
No, that's it. Maybe I should talk to the coach about that.
And Xander Killian.
His wife is the coach.
Xander Killian was part of that 4x1 along with Ethan McNeil, and they just kept. Did they get under 43? They were close. Just school record, unbelievable.
Right.
The question is the offensive line, and Donovan Hedrington is back, first team All-District. Jack Muller's back. He was close to being All-District selection, and they've got to find some other linemen, and we saw a glimpse of what's coming up with the Trojans offense. So a lot of depth on the offensive backfield, a lot of experience there. Quarterback Zayden Parker, who missed last year, and he admitted that he's got a little different attitude going into this season. When you sit out a year, and he said, it made me realize that football's important to me, but maybe not everything, and so he's got a kind of a calming, I think, going into the season.
I would say that, and it's tough at any position to play 3A football, any level as a sophomore, right?
Right.
But especially the quarterback position. We talked about that with a number of coaches. Harder's the only sophomore quarterback that looked like a senior. And,
he did.
And he helped guide a team to the state title. That's how rare it is. And no matter how mature you are as an individual, the maturity part of high school football is such a key. I mean, that's why everybody talks about upperclassmen. It truly is about maturity. The game does slow down. How many times, Tom and Chris, when you interview young men, they say, the game has slowed down for me.
Well, when I talked to a lot of the Tri-Center players last year, they really didn't talk about themselves. They always would veer and change the subject to the team.
Yep.
To the team. And I was interviewing Brent Freeberg, and he was talking that way back when he remembers when he was in the backyard of his home,
right,
playing football with some of these other guys who are now on the team, and they're all seniors, and he remembers playing with these guys and just going through, they were 6, 7, whatever years old, and they all dreamed of one day being on that stage and being, a state champion. And that was why at the end of the broadcast I said, from the backyards of Neola to, a state championship on the turf and in the dome in Cedar Falls, because it literally came true.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and that's what every kid dreams about. But they have to give something of themselves. They have to give up something in order to get something back, and that's what football is all about.
Well, it's the ultimate team sport.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this. I mean, there's a lot of sports out there, but football is the ultimate team sport. Tom, we would talk about this a lot. Is if one young man does not do his role, it can be.
Could screw up the whole thing.
The whole thing. You can have.
It's like a ballet.
Yeah, you have to have all 11 people doing their roles, and then the play is made. That's such a key, and
we're all watching the running back, or we're all watching the quarterback throw the ball, but if you watch what's going on, the linemen, and they've got so much time to hang on, and then you'll see an offensive back make a tremendous block to save a blitz or on a blitzing play, and you're right, and the receivers have got to run around every play too. It's all 11 cylinders got to be in line, in time, and no doubt.
And John, you said it on Friday night. You said, I'm anxious to see who is going to be this year's Tri-Center, because Tri-Center literally came out of nowhere to win a state championship, and I think I might have the answer. And they're not coming out of nowhere, but they are coming off an off season, and that's Harlan. And Tommy, you and I talked about this the other day. It's like we're going to hear from Todd Blatt here momentarily, coming up on our high school football preview show. But I think he's got these guys dialed in to get back on track. And, they're coming into this season without any superstars. There's no Rices. There's no McLaughlins. There's no stars. But that's when Harlan might be at their most dangerous.
Well, you and I talked about that coming up here today, about sometimes those are Harlan's best teams. But I'm going back to your interview with Todd Blatt that you had here in a preview a few days ago. In fact, they have been working a lot. I think they started in the off season. They were going 3 times a week or 7-on-7. Talk about that a little bit. All the work they've been putting in the off season.
Oh yeah, they have. I mean, I think Tom Blatt he's got them on a mission. He's putting them through the rigors. And he's got them going through the 7-on-7s. He got them going through some drills. They had high participation in their camps. He says he got them into the weight room, maybe more so than what they did in the past. We'll hear from Underwood's McHaleson as well. But and I said, well, Coach, you guys, you lost a few games last year, but then you recovered and you went 5-4 in the regular season and inched your 6-3 in the regular season, lost in the playoffs. He said, boy, you're bringing up bad memories, bad things and everything like that. And, that Todd Blatt way, which I love him to death. He always gives you a good quote.
He definitely got
something
from his dad.
Yeah. I interviewed... Many times I interviewed Kurt Blatt too when I was covering Harlan versus Elon in those days. But Todd Blatt, I think he I don't want to say the word embarrassed, but I think he was embarrassed by last year, and I think he's going to have his teams loaded for bear this year.
You mentioned Underwood, and Coach McHaleson is going to come in here pretty soon. That's another interesting story. They had a slow start a year ago, and look how far they went in the playoffs. They kind of got that. It's going to be interesting to see how they start this season.
And they play against each other.
Yeah. There you go.
But that's the interesting.
On a Thursday night.
That's what's interesting. The way that Iowa has their schedules set up, the first couple games, do matter per se. But with district play, it doesn't matter as much. I mean, you can find out something.
Right.
The coaches have some leverage. You know, Coach Burt's, both. I'm going to play the state champs. Absolutely. Sign me up. First week out of the chute, I want to know where my team's at. I mean, everybody wants to know kind of where their team is at. And the way that the schedules are set up where you're not playing a district team, I mean, everybody wants to win. Don't get me wrong. But if you lose that game, it's still all that matters is your district record.
Yeah. That's the way it's evolved. I mean, non-district games don't mean as much.
No.
You have to win your district. You could go, like in Atlantic's case, they get 4 non-district games. You go 0-4, and you
now
still
the RPI and stuff, which I don't care for with what happens.
But you could
LA.
go 0-4 and then 5-0.
Subject with my family. Let's put it that way.
Well, you go 5-0 in district play. You're 5-4 and make the playoffs. I mean, Xavier K went 3-5 last year, and they made the playoffs in 8-man. And there are some people that are talking about let's move 8-man to 2 different classes, but if 3 and 5 teams are making the playoffs, there's no need to switch and go to 2 different classes in 8-man football. So I was originally in favor of 8-man going to 2 classes, but not now. I'm not if 3 and 5 teams are making the postseason. So what was I going to bring up? There's so much. One thing I wanted to get you guys' perspective on. We're here in Neola, and you look at this particular area for high school football. You got Tri-Center, which is now a force. Underwood has been a force. You go up the road a little bit. We talked to Logan Magnolia. They're not that far away. You just shoot over to the east a little bit, and there's Riverside. AHSTW, you draw a square there. Harlan's not that far up the road as well. This little area is tremendous for football, at least right now. Has it always been the case? And how have you seen it evolve to get? I mean, we know Harlan's always been Harlan, but I love this little area that we're in right now is pretty deep in football.
Yeah, I've been around a while, and I would have to say at this point probably the deepest I've seen as far as parity. HSTW's always had strong programs going way back. Corey Faust had them years and years ago, making the playoffs. Daryl Frane coming to Riverside, and you guys asked him a great question about culture. Look what he's done there. And they've had some good teams back. Marv Thompson was the head coach of Riverside years ago, and they were a tough football team, let me tell you. We would do Riverside and HSTW. That was quite a rivalry back then. And that's when the Vikings played at the fairgrounds. And it was a great place to broadcast, right there where the racetrack was inside. But and Harlan always been there. Tri-Center, again, what a story from a year ago. They've been competitive, but probably more so now than ever before. Logan Magnolia's always been there, but I would have to say you're right. I think they're as good as they have been as a group of community school districts as they have been a long time.
Yeah, and all the different levels. I mean, we're talking, we have very competitive 8-man, A, 1A, 2A, and 3A. I mean, all different classes. There are 3 to 4 teams in Southwest Iowa that have a program and a culture where you expect to win. I mean, Harlan, and we lived in Madrid community before we moved back to Atlantic. And Madrid was the same way. And when I joked, and it was true. If you wanted to rob anything in Madrid, do it on a Friday night, because even an away football game, there was nobody there. Like, we'd go to church, and they'd you go to the game, and Craig Allen and Colton were 1-4, and we're like, no, and they shunned us at church. I mean, it was a away game. Like, really? I went home to help Dad combine. And I got
shunned at church.
But that's
bad, John.
Yeah, I took it personally, obviously, because I'm still worried about 15 years later. But
I thought it was God, family, then football. I guess football moves up.
But I would tell you this: you like this because John's a big Iowa State fan and played college ball at Drake. But Nate McKelson, former Iowa State football player, Matt Strait, former
Yep.
Iowa State football player. Now they're head coaches here in Western Iowa. How about that?
Right.
Yeah,
No,
and
and-
we're talking to them both.
Yeah.
What it's just, and we talked on this a lot last year about how many good 8-man programs are in this side of the state, like
absolutely.
west of Interstate 35. Go from north to south, and you look at the Audubons and the Cams and Exira HK. They're down a little bit now,
Fremont
but then you get
Mills.
Fremont Mills,
Lennox.
and you go farther north, and Remsen, St. Mary's, and even Bishop Garrigan is supposed to be really good, and they're on this side of the state as well. And you go to the other side, and you got Don Bosco,
Right.
and that's they do have some other good teams though over there, but it's leaning. The seesaw is leaning heavily on this side of the state for 8-man.
It's
Where
not
it
a-
started, 8-man
yeah,
actually
but
started on this side.
It's not a coincidence, and the coaches we talk to, and some of them, that a lot of it is because of their leadership.
Yep.
I mean,
No doubt.
there are some phenomenal programs, but it's because they're led by phenomenal coaches and their staff. And each coach has alluded to. I mean, you can't do it by yourself. You got a couple assistants, but you got probably 2 or 3 volunteer assistants. You got people there. It didn't have back in the day you used to have people go scout. Now
Yes.
with the video and stuff, you don't have to do that as much. But I mean, you think about even 15 years ago, you had 2 or 3 people that were going and just scouting next week's opponent or 2 weeks out opponents, and that's something I think the programs in this area just have great coaching and great staffs.
Technology, you're talking about the huddle.
Yeah.
You got players that can watch those films now.
I promise
all
you,
the time.
well, Colton watched more huddle than he ever did
Yeah.
study in school. He'd be the first to tell you.
I mean,
And it- yeah.
back in the old days, we'd had Sunday to watch the film
No,
and
and
back to work on a Monday. They watch it all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's get back to the coaches, guys. It's always great to talk with you. We probably could have spilled and talked till the sun comes down or goes up or comes down or whatever. But let's get back to this. This is our halftime. This is our halftime show on our football preview. We're waiting on Nate McHaleson. Underwood is not that far away, and he's practicing till 6 o'clock. And then when he'll come, we'll talk to him live here at the Bucksnort. But in the meantime, we have other coaches that could not make it here, but we have conversations with them. And one guy is back on the sidelines with the Vikings, and that's look out, Davis Patty. We'll talk to Coach Patty, and AHSTW will preview them. That's coming up next. We're live at the Bucksnort Restaurant in Neola. It's our high school football preview show here on KSOM. Back in 2 minutes.
Communications has decreased the monthly price for wireless routers and Wi-Fi extenders for Blue Surge Internet. No need to maintain a wireless router or Wi-Fi extenders yourself when we will for a low monthly fee. And with the included Command IQ app, you gain the power to manage, automate, and secure your network, all from your mobile device. Add to your wireless experience in August, and we'll waive the fees to install. Call Griswold Communications at 778-2121 and let us handle the setup, security updates, and maintenance of your Wi-Fi network.
Farmers, whether you are baling hay, straw, or corn stalks, Cordex Net Wrap from Adair Feed and Grain saves you time in the field, keeps your bales protected in storage, and provides the most value in the industry. Stop overpaying for in-season purchases. We offer the same price all year long, allowing farmers more flexibility and convenience than our competitors. Cordex Net Wrap from Adair Feed and Grain. Strong, reliable, built for any baler, any job.
It's our high school football preview show here on KSOM as we are here in Guthrie Center. They're having a big media day on a Saturday. We're talking with Cody Matheson, head coach for ACGC. And Coach, you got a little bit of an early game this year with a Thursday start thanks to the Guthrie County Fair. But how are you feeling coming off your scrimmage from Friday night?
We like where we're at right now. We played a controlled scrimmage last night where we had varsity first half and played our JV and JV freshmen in the second half, and took a little bit to get settled in. You know, when you have a new center, a new quarterback, a new fullback, those are kind of right down the midline of what's important, and right down the midline of formation for our offensive scheme of being our triple option. So when you don't scheme for a defense and you don't plan for defense, and you don't have film, and we don't play with that whole entire thing. We're focused on Nora. When they come out in a 50 front with a nose tackle and on a brand new center and a brand new quarterback, they're a little nervous. You know, you got to get that snap off, you got something in your face real quick. So we kind of struggled in the first, probably 5-10 minutes of the game. Then we settled in and ended up getting outside, and we ended up scoring a couple touchdowns there and exposing their outside run game, their outside run defense, and using our team speed that we were able to see this spring with our track program, the guys outside did a really good job. So Tommy really got comfortable running our option. He's a kid who's never played quarterback before. He was a wide receiver and a defensive back for us last year. So he ended up, getting outside and reading the option really well, and ended up, tucking one up, made a few guys miss for about a 25-yard touchdown too. So that was really promising to see that, he was getting comfortable as the game went on, and the guys got better and got better as the game went on. You can see they're gaining more confidence. So we're really pleased with where we're at. There's a lot of things we got to work on, and a lot of things we got to do. Defense, we're just, I think the biggest insight, and I told the kids halftime at session, where do we feel like we're at? They said they played a little bit slow. They're a little bit timid at times, and that's going to be common. And I think when I reassess and I assess them, I said, I think one thing is why we were timid, why we were slow is we're a little bit out of shape. And that's okay. So that's going to go as time goes on. So if we can evaluate those things with our controllables, it's not a lack of physicality. It's not a lack of athleticism. It's not a lack of talent. We have those pieces there. It's the I guess, variables that go in with that. So that's a really exciting piece because we can work and improve those as the season goes on.
So last we talked, you were still undecided about a quarterback. So Tommy Scram now is your starter. What set him apart? What allowed him to take the job?
Well, I think Tommy's a senior for us. He's had a really good junior year. He was a defensive back, all-district defensive back for us as a junior last year as a football team. He had a really big role in the basketball program, the basketball team that ended up having a lot of success. And then, obviously, his track season ended up being something that was very valuable to his experience and his ability to be able to put in pressure situations. I mean, Tom was a guy who wasn't going to run track, and then he was on 9th place 4x200 team, and he was a state champion. So for him to be able to be put in those situations and be resilient, and he went on to have an all-state baseball season. So Tommy's had a really good junior year. And we kind of see that confidence kind of coming out in him. He's always been kind of a quiet, reserved kid, not a big vocal guy, and you can see that competitive mindset of really kind of switching, and you can see that because of his success. So when he's in the huddle, you can tell he's taking control of the huddle. He's he's vocal. He's very articulate in what he's saying. He's getting guys lined up, and so that's really been a really big piece for him to be able to be kind of what we thought is that guy. So we're going to see really how the first few games he's still going to have to settle in and get better, but I think we're going to be all right in that position. We had talked about him. It's like, you're just kind of the physicality part was one we need to really focus on. But he's got good size and he's got good things. He really fits in mold. He's a good quarterback. And right now, that's a decision we're going with, and we'll move on.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Joe Crawford. You know what he can do at one tailback. You said that you were going to get a lot of different guys at the fullback position. Has that position been sorted out a little bit?
Yeah, to a certain extent. We're still rotating 2 guys right now. So we had guys like Case Sorensen, who's a senior for us. He starts our defensive end position. Another kid who was on our Greek Relays 4x100 team, and he ended up suffering a hip labrum injury throughout track. And he ended up not being able to run and state qualifying or anything like that. But he would have been a state medalist this year for us. And he's part of that record for the 4x1 last year, for our fastest 4x1 time last year. So he's got some speed. And he's got some really good assets. And then Angel Martinez, another senior for us, he'll be playing on the defensive side of the ball as well in the interior. 2 guys who has really just climbed through the progressions of the charts of being, JV to varsity to limit to, a few more reps on defense. And now they have large roles as seniors though, so they kind of bring something different to the table. Cade's kind of got that breakaway speed. And he's really focused on him being a little bit more physical running. And Angel's got that more physicality type run. So they're both built similarly. And so they just complement each other in different ways. You kind of got a power fullback, you kind of got a speed fullback. So, it's kind of a Swiss Army knife in that position, which we really like. So those are our 2 guys who we set at right now who got the reps last night in our varsity position for fullback.
How about up front on the offensive line? What do you like about those spots?
Offensive line returns 3 really good players from us from last year. Carter Richter was an all-state player for us. Jack Sheeter, we moved him from center to guard. We did that later on in the year, actually, towards the playoffs. So Jack Sheeter, another senior for us, he was an all-state football player. He'll be our guard. Brendan Tunick, he played on the weak side. He played weak tackle for us last year. When I say weak and strong, we flip our line. We don't do a left tackle, right tackle. So Brendan Tunick is another senior for us. I personally believe the way he's playing right now and the strides he's made, he's going to be in the running for an all-state year. So you have essentially 3 all-state linemen. That's a pretty good foundation for your house. You got to be able to run behind this guy, especially with our scheme and what we do. We like to run the ball, as everybody likes to know.
No.
Yeah, I know. We threw the ball once last night. But with that being said, our center position is we played Cash Stewart there. Cash is a junior. He's been really good in the weight room. We kind of saw what he could do as a sophomore last year, and he's made strides. He's really fit in that position. That was like, I talked about with our youth center. He's really just grown and really just put himself, and he's been a really good leader there and asked a lot of good questions. He's been a really good student of the game, which we like. And then our other new guy that we put in there, so we lost, Ben Franzine and Mason Wall, 2 guys up front, our 2 seniors. So those are the 2 guys replacing when I speak of this is so Cash Stewart center, and then Garrett Lemke as our guard. He's another junior. Another kid who has worked his tail off is a kid who's put extra time in the weight room, showing up every single day. He's an energetic kid. He's got relentless effort, goes hard. He's just about a step away from being really confident in himself. He's just inexperienced right now. So Cash and Garrett are 2 inexperienced guys, but when you have 3 guys that are returning back from a 10-1 team from last year and 2 of them being all-state players, I think they have pretty good mentors that take under their wing and put those guys in good positions. So we really like those guys up front where we're at.
Sure. How about defensively? Who do you expect to be kind of your leaders on that side of the football this year?
Well, we returned to Xander Harwood, who we spoke about earlier. Xander Harwood was a district MVP for us last year. Just a ball hawk and a guy who's always got an active ball. He probably would have set the single season tackle record this year, but he missed the Riverside game. Gave him 42 points. So when you're missing the district MVP in that game, I think that was kind of a really big eye-opening experience of how good of a football player and the difference he makes for us. We see him. He was kind of the guy who was more the ball hawk, and then Francine was kind of the more get guys lined up, vocal leader. And so we really see Xander hopefully taking it one step further and getting that vocal leader as the middle linebacker on the defense. On the interior, like I said, guys already talked about on offense. Jack Sheeter is back on the interior. Carter Richter, who's been a 2-time first-team All-State football player, is back on the interior. Brendan Tunick, who I talked about on the offensive line, he's been playing DN. And then so Case Sorensen, another kid who I talked about playing fullback, he's been rotating. We have about 3-4 guys who rotate off the sideline on our defensive line. Angel Martinez is another kid who is playing inside for us. Brechter Snyder is back. Ryder Klein, who's been a heck of a wrestler. You probably remember him from wrestling season. He's going to be playing outside linebacker. Both of our corners back with Joe Crawford and Tommy Scram. Kinnick Kralik, a sophomore for us. Our only sophomore who we've had conversations about, who's really been in the rotation on the defensive side. Kinnick has been playing safety, but our starter right now is Charlie Christensen. He's coming off an ACL surgery. He's really set up to have a really good wrestling career, and he's just been kind of had injury bugs kind of got him. So it's good to see him healthy. He'll be playing safety for us right now, but we go two high safety looks. Kinnick will be the guy who rotates in and angels them off the field. But when you talk about our guys up front, our front seven is a very big front. I mean, Jack Cheater in the 6'5", 285. Carter Richter is a two-time first-team All-State player. He's about 5'10", 220 pounds. Brendan Tunick, sorry, 6'3", 220 pounds. Cash Shore, another kid that, on the offensive line that I talked about, can rotate on the defense. He's 6'1", 230 pounds. Garrett Lemke, 6'2", 280 pounds. Cade Stewart, he's our speed guy off the edge. He's a good-looking kid. He's not 6 foot, 280 pounds. He's kind of a guy who can come in and speed off the edge. So size is not a problem now. So when you're big, though, you got to be in shape. So that's kind of where we lie right now. And that's, like I said earlier, that's a point of emphasis. We got the guys, but we got to be able to keep them on the field and play multiple snaps at a time. So we got a lot of depth, which helps too, to be able to keep those guys around.
Well, Coach, it all starts on Thursday night, and we'll be here in Guthrie Center as you take on your arch-rival, the Panthers. Looking forward to it. Really appreciate your time, and we'll see you Thursday. Thanks so much.
And thanks for Thursday.
Cody Matheson, head coach for ACTC football, joining us here on our high school football preview show on KSOM.
Cumberland Telephone Company is a full-service telephone company that offers fiber to the homes in the Cumberland area, the towns of Bridgewater and Fontenay, and southwest Adair County. They offer local and long-distance and internet services. Cumberland Telephone Company strives to constantly provide the best services for their customers. Visit CumberlandTelephone.com or give them a call at 712-774-2221. Cumberland Telephone Company, a proud sponsor of CAM Athletics and the communities we serve.
What's it mean to be in good hands? It means you get an expert agent who's in it for the long haul. We'll get to know you and be there for you as your coverage needs change. I'm Craig Hummel at Hummel Insurance Services, and we work with Allstate Insurance. Let us help you choose the right amount of protection to meet your needs and see for yourself what it means to be in good hands. Call Hummel Insurance Services or stop in anytime.
Messina Telephone Company understands that your internet connection should be available when you need it. Some internet providers cut corners by limiting your bandwidth during peak hours. Messina Telephone policy is to have bandwidth in reserve to prevent network congestion. Gaming and streaming video just works better with Messina Telephone's fast, reliable internet service. Call 712-779-2227 or messinatelephone.com. Messina Telephone Company is a proud supporter of CAM Athletics. Feeling like your tank is running on empty? We're not just talking about your car. Pull into Olson's BP in Atlantic, your ultimate keep-you-going store. We've got the superior BP fuels your engine needs to go the distance, but that's just the start. Inside, we'll fuel you up with some mouth-watering, perfectly seasoned Champs chicken for a quick and satisfying meal. Need to feed the whole crew? This month, get an incredible deal on Godfather's Pizza. 2 large, single-topping pizzas for just $26. It's a perfect way to keep everyone happy. Olson's BP is more than a gas station. It's your one-stop shop for everything you need to keep going. Olson's BP, your keep-you-going store. That's Olson's BP in Atlantic. 2 large, one-topping pizzas for just $26. See you at Olson's BP.
We're here on KSOM, and we're talking high school football as we gear up for the season here in 2025. Talking now with AHSTW's new head coach, who's a familiar face. Davis Petit is back running the Vikings, and he joins us here on KSOM. Coach, how are you feeling about back in the saddle again with AHSTW?
It's certainly exciting. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having HSCW on the air. We appreciate the coverage.
Yeah, ACGC next.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's
6:15, so
certainly familiar in some ways, and in others.
Nate should be here any minute.
It's brand 2019,
Hey, so you aired
Mitch
ACTC and now
Osborne
you're
retired
airing
from his
HSTW.
position as AD at Harlan, and that was
Well, hopefully you'll be
growing up here,
Coach will
always
be
kind of a
here.
pipe dream. I mean, I've talked to many of my colleagues or people in the coaching and administrative world. And that was one opportunity that I was certainly going to explore if it ever came available. Unfortunately enough, it did, and I'm super thankful to have that opportunity and that experience, and learn from several Hall of Fame coaches, and just great people to work with there, and great families there too. So yeah, was there for 4 years there. So in the freshman class, and out with them the seniors, graduated with them, so to speak. And, I didn't foresee leaving necessarily, but the job opportunity opened up here as high school principal. And I don't know that I would have left for anything else, but yeah, the timeline was such that it worked out that way, and thankful enough that should be hired here again. And, just done some coaching here and there, a lot of youth stuff, a little bit of junior high stuff at Harlan. Working with my own kids, and then was able to dabble a little bit with the high school kids last year and the coaching staff here. But nothing too official or on the books until this season, since I suppose the 2018 season.
Wow. So yeah, is it going to be like you never left when you get on the sidelines?
I think it'll be all the feels. It'll be a wave of emotions in that capacity. I think a little bit. It'll probably settle back in pretty quickly, but there'll be a lot of newness, a lot of energy, and a lot of emotion for me. I can kind of be an emotional guy that way, but certainly a lot of gratitude, a lot of thankfulness, and excitement for all of us to go down this journey for the 2025 season.
I thought last year, despite all the drama that surrounded the football team with the homecoming incident and Coach Harris deciding to leave in the middle of the season, which is very rare in high school football, the team still withstood some of those challenges and had a winning season and made it to the playoffs. What's the attitude now of this team coming into this year, knowing that some of the players are back from last year, and you're just looking for a sense of normalcy, I bet?
Yeah, Chris, I mean, we're thankful for everybody's contributions in the past, players, coaches, etc., and we want to honor our proud past. But, for these kids, for this coaching staff, for all of us, I mean, we're really just set on 2025. We're all in on this thing right now. We've got a group of 7 seniors that are tremendous kids that, yes, some have had experiences, but really this is their big shot at it. This is their time to shine. And I think the rest of the team is embracing that as well, as we're looking at one game, and this 1 year is we're all in for it. So, it's an exciting time. We've got a lot of kids with, some inexperience, but that kind of adds to the anticipation and some of the competition, thankfully, that we have in-house right now. So we're looking forward to seeing what our product is when we get to go against somebody else, and we'll learn a lot about ourselves, but we certainly have so much newness to it that we really can only take it one day at a time and work on being the best version of ourselves that we can be.
What was the summer like?
Truthfully, the summer was pretty outstanding for us. We took a big step forward. The collective effort was really, really good. The kids bought in. We've got a new person hired. His name's Carter Church, that will be doing high school PE and strength and conditioning, and definitely deserves a shout out here. He did a really nice job working with all our junior high and high school athletes over the summer, and our high school coaching staffs overall have stepped up and taken more of the leadership role in that area, and taken more responsibility for development over the summer months. So it was really good from just a physical development standpoint. I would say football was kind of slow and steady, to be honest. We we didn't overwhelm them. We've got some new stuff that we're working on. We've got obviously new coaches, new concepts. So we didn't want to overwhelm them or inundate them with new terminology or concepts. So that part's been pretty slow and steady, but I think working out for the best.
Briefly, I guess explain some of the new concepts that you would like to institute with the team.
Well, I'm not going to give away the play script per se, Chris. Here, there might be somebody listening, but no, I mean, in all honesty, I think we're really going to build this team inside out. We need to be able to control the line of scrimmage. We need to be able to run the football effectively. We've got to stop the run. At the end of the day, it's still high school football, and really any level of football. You got to be able to control the football and be able to eke out some yards between the tackles. And I think that's where our strength hopefully will lie. I mean, time will tell. You're just getting pads on for the first day yesterday, and nobody's gone full pads yet. So we really don't know. But nobody does across the state either. So we're looking to, build this team inside out. We feel like we've got some good guys in the trenches that we can kind of run behind, and some talented ball carriers that hopefully will exploit some holes and some, we hope, effective blocking schemes in front of them.
Well, how do you feel about the quarterback position coming into practice here? I mean, Luke Sternberg was holding that job down at the end of the season. Of course, also your leading rusher that graduated, Camden Sukup, also a talented quarterback who missed a chunk of the season because of injuries. So how do you feel about Dayton Osborne, of course, play a little bit there as well? What do you see as the quarterback position coming into this year?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you're doing your homework on that for sure. I mean, those are two all-state caliber kids, no doubt about it. I mean, Luke's played in the Shrine Bowl and going to Iowa Western to play in Camden. It was unfortunate, his injury, because he's such a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal kid, and one of the grittiest competitors I think we've had. So that was incredibly disheartening for everyone to have him go through that, and no more than nobody felt that more than him and his family. But for this season, obviously we got to turn the page, and a silver lining is Dayton did get some very quality reps, and quality reps against some very good opponents at times too. So we're happy about his development. He is still just a sophomore, and learning a little bit of a new system. Yes, we've got some carryover and trying to ease some transitional things in terms of the playbook, but he's really handled himself very, very well. We're proud of him, proud of what he's done, and at the same time, we've got to be smart as coaches and not demand too much of him. We've got some seniors and juniors around him that can carry a little bit more burden if we're smart about it. But no, he's done well, and we've got another freshman, Kipton Lamp, and a sophomore, Camden Drazen, that are also getting quality reps in practice and kind of battling things out right now to build some depth in our program at that position. And it's an interesting case, as it's a little bit of a glamour position, but for us, especially last year, like you noted, we didn't have much depth on a very quality and talented team. So it's certainly a little bit of a chore and priority to develop that positional group, just like any others. But we're happy with how the kids are working right now. That's for certain.
Are there any other positions that you're expecting some big competition in camp to determine who would be starters?
Yeah, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about where we're at, Chris, and it'll be probably a lot of cliches in this answer as well. So sorry as people listen, but no, I mean, we lost a very large senior class with several one-way, if not two-way starters. So there's only probably a few, and I would dare not tell our team this, that there's only a few positions that are probably truly locked in, and outside of that, there's great competition between the ones and twos, and it's you're a one day and two the next type of deal. We got a lot of 1.5s right now. So I would say there's unfortunately a normal and natural healthy drop off between them and probably a lot of our incoming freshmen, but we really like our young guys, and we're excited about their development, and they're bringing their lunch pails to work every day and putting their head down and getting after it. They're not backing down yet. So we're excited about them. But there's certainly a good time and place for junior varsity, and we're going to get a lot of kids reps at that level. So that'll be good too to see them develop for long term.
So in the redistricting, it came out for you in district number 7 with ACGC and Mount Ayr, Riverside, some tough teams there, plus Central Decatur, Nottoway Valley, and Southwest Valley. What did you think of where they ended up putting your football team?
Well, where is certainly a big part of the question. We're going to log some gas miles this year, so we'll see what the Viking faithful is up for in terms of traveling some long distance. But no, there's really good quality opponents on our schedule this year, and next year, obviously. There's going to be some definite horses in the backfield, and each of those teams you mentioned has some big physical guys up front that are returning. So, we're not deep in any scout by any means, but just kind of having an eyeball on some of the kids that are returning in those programs are certainly noteworthy, and we'll make it a long night for you if you're not ready to bring the physicality and being able to stop the rushing attack for sure. So. I don't think there was a hope for we're looking for this team or that team. We're going to be really excited to play whoever we can, and there's definite excitement to playing some teams that we've never played before, or certainly haven't played in a very long time. So there's some definite anticipation for playing some new people.
So what are your goals in practice here to get your team ready for your season opener against Logan Magnolia?
Yeah, great question. I mean, we've really got to ride the wave of being physical and getting after it when we can, and picking our spots and being smart, but also trying to stay healthy. I said we do have some good competition at spots, but we're certainly not super deep with the squad that we've got right now. We're practicing with maybe 30 to 33 kids, something like that, I would say. So not a lot of room to have people dinged up and missing time. So being smart about our development, certainly need to be very, very sharp mentally as we go ahead, and probably really try not to overwhelm our kids. When we show up and play Loma will play incredibly physical. Coach Straight's one of the best coaches in the area.